This video is sponsored by Warthunder, more on that later. Ark Descended. Easily Ark's largest overhaul mod with hundreds of unique dinosaurs with all different abilities, a multitude of bosses to defeat just to progress through this mod, and terrifying creatures hidden behind the mist of smoke. It has been well over a year since the last time I played this mod and there's been tons of updates. So I'm here now to discover what has changed and see what I can achieve in this 100 days. This unique adventure all starts with waking up alone on the beach. Welcome homies and homies to another Ark modded adventure. We are playing on a map that I have never tried before, Foglar. New map, who dis? Never been on this map before. Anyways, it's time to start the grind. Picking some berries by hand, trying to get some fiber, beating up some trees as if they're my past bullies, and collecting some lovely stones along the beach. Oh, what's that? What's this? Ordinary loot box. Open it up, give you some rewards. Yo, okay. Then with a couple levels under our belt, I added into our weight and then check our engrams. One of the mods that I had also added was the crazy potions mod. It's so essential in this overhaul mod. Now you might see the sleepy pokey stick right here, but we're gonna get rid of it. It's way too overpowered in this playthrough. It basically knocks out any creature with one tap. But for now, we're gonna unlock some of the essentials, like the reusable spear and a stone hatchet. Campfire could be helpful too. I had so much fun in this playthrough. I'm excited for you guys to see this whole video. And if I'm honest, I think we picked the perfect map for it. This has some really interesting places to check out. Random extinction building could be a good place to build a base. After harvesting a little bit more resources, we leveled up even further. So I unlocked some more engrams, which included the Descended Spear and Nano's reusable multi-tool. This spear we can use to knock things out as it deals torpor damage as well. Something maybe like this Lystro right here. What type of oh! Wait, you're a what the hell? Yeah, that didn't last very long. That was rude. I didn't expect my very first death to be by a little Lystro. But hey, this is modded Ark, so you never know what to expect. Like this. Bro, is that a flying whale? That whale is, there's flying whales. Welcome to modded Ark, my friends. I then discovered this. Oh. Is that a fishing pier? This was an exciting discovery. I've never played on this map before, and it's cool to see something new. This map is cool. Look at this. Whoa. Oh, I think we can find crystal for our spyglass. There's so many new discoveries to discover in this mod and this map, and every single creature seems to be somewhat modded. I don't know what you is. An ordinary carby. Wait, what? Dude, you're a passive tame? Gimme. No way. I actually don't want to tame him. Discovering that some of these creatures are passive tames is going to make the start of this journey a little bit easier, which means it's probably a good idea to get started on exactly that, starting on the mod, but also avoiding all risky creatures. Do you know we wait, hey. Stay away, buddy. I also probably need to try and tame myself something to help us out in this journey. Baby PT? Mommy PT. Oh my god! Free PT! Yes! Now what? Alright, little kid. I gotta feed you your mom. There you go. You'll be right now. After committing a pretty messed up act, I went to go and see if I could tame something else. Something that might actually help us at the stage of the game that we're at. There were a few things to choose from. Maybe a better fully grown up PT, excellent PT, a little baby raptor, a gigantic moth, and definitely not a Diplo that looks like it wants to kill us. Oh crap. I couldn't find anything, but we could unlock some more engrams, which includes this excellent kibble, which is the second tier of dino that we can tame. The first being ordinary tier. And ordinary tier dinos don't require any kibble or anything, they can just be tamed the normal vanilla way. But then we finally found something. This ordinary trike might be the perfect first tame for us. Well, second, technically the PT was first. It's a passive tame, so let's begin this process. Bang, baby. No idea what this does. Got a pink helmet thingy on. Rocking a pink helmet thingy, it was time to place down a starter base. Just one single foundation. It's all we need, / all we can kind of afford right now because we are poor. Yeah, wait there, Mr. Triceratops, just for a moment, just till we can get you a saddle. I then began gathering a bunch of resources so we could place down some more foundations. I noticed my heart was racing rapidly. No, it's not anxiety. I was about to die. It was so hot on this map that we were melting away, but we have more foundations, and that's a win, I guess. It eventually cooled down, so our health started rising again, and the anxiety heartbeat started going away. So to celebrate, I set a dodo on fire. It's funny, right? These other birds weren't very happy about it though. What in the frick? Yeah, that's what happens when you bully little people. You get bullied by other things. In my very next mission, I wanted to make an awesome spyglass. Now, I need crystal for that, so I headed over to this Crystal Isles area. It should be a pretty simple swim, right? There's no dangers. That Megalodon's far enough away that we will be safe. Oh, crap. Spotted me. Wow, he's way faster than I expected. Slight failure, yes, I know. I've died quite a few times to some pretty poor, weak ways. Please allow me to get my stuff back. Hello, old me. Wow. Bro, close your eyes, bro. That's a really unpleasant way to die.
Mayday, 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 man down, man down.
What are you doing?
Well, let me tell you.
This is Warthunder, the ultimate free-to-play military vehicular combat game available on mobile, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Mac. We're talking about massive combined arms battles where aviation, ground armed forces, and naval fleets clash simultaneously on the exact same battlefield. What absolutely blows me away about this game is the sheer scale. You get access to over 2,500 highly detailed historical vehicles spanning from the 1920s all the way up until today's age. You can fully immerse yourself in the intense combat of Warthunder. With an already humongous community of over 95 million players, there is no shortage of modes for you to jump into. If you're looking for fast-paced, high-octane action, jump into arcade mode. But if you want a true challenge where physics, aerodynamics, and structural armor penetration mechanics actually matter, my personal favorite mode is the realistic battle mode. It completely changes the strategy of play. Best of all, it's 100% free to play. You can sign up right now using my custom link in the description below, and if you're a new or returning player who hasn't played in 6 months, you will also receive a massive bonus pack for PC and console. That includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decoration, the Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of a premium account. Only for a limited time. So go ahead right now, click that link below, download the game, and I'll see you guys in the battlefield. Thank you, Warthunder, for sponsoring this video. It's now day 2, and I'm still trying to get over to this Crystal Island. I really need to get myself some crystal, but my old friend Bruce was not letting me get over there. But screw him, we're gonna do it. All right, third time's the charm. Let's try a little bit of a different angle. Any megalodons over here? We're gonna go over to the island, and then we're gonna travel back, try and get our stuff back. Oh, okay. I'm glad I didn't get a raft. I was considering getting a raft, but that is going to be the reason why I did not get a raft. Now, a raft might be a simple and easy way to get across this little waterlogged area, or we can just risk it for the biscuit and try and swim. Underwater world's built pretty good. Oh, crap. No, you're trying to eat me. No, you're not aggressive? Yeah, who would have thought these ancient dolphins were aggressive? Now, because we had died multiple times in a quick succession, I have to now wait. When I was finally able to respawn, well, my stupid ass respawned at the wrong location. I didn't respawn at my bed. I regathered my tools and gave up on that mission to try and get across to the crystal area. Instead, I'm trying to hunt down some weak creatures so I can get myself some hide. Yes. Really need your hide. Oh my god, you're just not enough. There was this metal node nearby as well, so I figured I might as well harvest it. Metal is always good to have in the early game. Well, kind of always good to have always. I saw this old ruin and then found an explorer note. I had no idea that there was explorer notes in this map. This will be very handy for us to level up, which I need so I can unlock this new engram and get some storage for our base. Since we had gathered some more metal, we need a way to smelt it. So I placed down this forge and got some metal cooking. I'm trying to work towards getting a saddle for our trike. We can almost do it, but we're just missing a little bit more wood. Couple smacks to some local trees, and we were able to make a trike saddle. All right, buddy. Trike saddle time. Even though we got the saddle going, we're still dying of heat. And we're dying of heat again. I went for a dip in the ocean to try and cool down, and it didn't really help too much. It's a rather annoying feature, and it's definitely map exclusive. We're going to get rid of it eventually just because it's such a hindrance to our journey, especially since we're playing an overhaul mod. Even having 28 points into fortitude, and it's not really helping, is kind of crazy to me. I started crafting up some of these foundations to try and level up our fortitude even further so we can avoid this heat stroke, but I kind of drowned. We were reincarnated, it wasn't very hot anymore, so we jumped on our trike and put it to work. Alright, Mr. Triceratops, let's go for a spinny. Not only did we gather some berries, but I wanted to take on some weak wildlife. And the trike makes this so much easier, doing tons more damage and can tank some hits. This way we could stock up on a little bit more hide. Things were finally starting to look up in this playthrough. We're moving forward. No! Fuck! Oh, this is still ARK though. Yeah, things like that might happen. And of course, getting my stuff and my trike back was not going to be an easy task. Please. Bro! That Microraptor was not letting us go. What the freak is happening? And just as luck would have it, a Paki was trying to chase me down and kill me too. I swam in the ocean to try and get its aggro off of me, managed to escape the Paki, and then get back to my trike. Oh, you got it. You did it. Let's go. Oh my god, bro. But it's never that simple, is it? Day 3, we raced back to our trike and tried to avoid getting killed once again. Managed to pick up our stuff, get on the back of our trike, and run away. I was scared that we were going to die again. Since being out farming and everything, we had gained some major levels, which means we can unlock a whole bunch of new engrams, a lot that are going to help us out in this journey. Specifically, this one right here. All right, so we should have unlocked these. This is what we need. Yes, baby. The SCS collection balls. We could only unlock it at level 51, and now we can put our dinos safe in their balls. But of course, before I could craft those balls, I need crystal. So on the back of my trike, I started heading towards the crystal islands. Okay, so we should have just went around here to come over to across the water to be able to get over there to get our freaking crystal. Instead of dying a million times. Aha, Raptor tried to get us, but they can't cross the water. See, if we just did a little bit more exploring earlier, we would have found an easy pathway to get over here. See, these little crystals on the floor, are they something I can harvest? I don't want to get off my trike. Can I just harvest it with my hands? No. We were, in fact, unable to be able to grab this crystal from the ground. Couldn't do anything with the little ones. Instead, we grabbed the big ones that definitely work. For no particular reason at all, I started picking on these dodos and a little bulb dog. Then I could get myself some free meat and hide. There was a baby dodo here, so I claimed it. We now have a descended dodo. Now, the descended dodo is an essential tame in this mod. You see, they passively produce descended souls and silica pearls as well. Since I'd gathered some crystal, I can create this SCS ball and put this dodo safely away. I then made my way back to base so I could store all of our newly gathered resources. I wanted to work on some narcotics next so I could tame some other creatures, starting with spoiling some raw meat. Another reason why we gathered crystal was for this crafting table right here, the Descended Smithy. And this glowing smithy with a dodo on top of it is where we can craft some of the modded items. Something like this Descended Metal Pickaxe, which can gather a lot more resources from various nodes. Now, the only way that our Descended Dodo can produce some Descended Souls is if it's out and not in a soul ball. It's not very safe where we are right now, but hey, if it dies, it dies. It is what it is. My very next mission, I want to get into the skies. And the only way to get into the skies is to be able to get a saddle for our pteranodon. And the only way to make a saddle for our pteranodon is with some chitin. And to ensure that we don't pick on anything that we can't actually defeat, I made an awesome spyglass. I had planned on going into the ocean, but as we got deeper, I saw too many dangers, so we avoided that. Instead, we're going to see if we can get a little bit of keratin from these triceratops. Now, I picked on an ordinary one, but it wasn't going too well when I started fighting this excellent one. Yeah, dying off the back of dinos is not fun. We did manage to get our stuff back, but our trike was kind of beat up. We're not engaging in any more fights over here, at least. We did manage to find another trike, so we picked on it. We did manage to find another trike, so we started fighting it. Unfortunately, its friend was nearby, and yeah, well, we died before even its friend got to us. Okay, getting killed off the back is crazy. Day 4, I put my trike away in the SCS ball because it was looking kind of rough. It needed a well-deserved break. Then, as I was roaming around, I spotted this pteranodon. As I approached it, I realized it was a passive tame. Now, this was huge. I had a little bit of meat on me so we could passively tame it. We fed it once, but we had to wait for it to get hungry once again. Whilst waiting though, I decided to run back to base so I can make myself another SCS ball. I ended up getting chased by a stupid Microraptor, so I ran to the ocean to try and get away. This seemed to work just fine, so we were able to make this SCS ball, but the weather was really starting to get to us and we were slowly dying. I was praying that before we died, we could get back to this pteranodon and finally tame it, but it was up in the sky already. My G, can you land real quick? I'm just dying. I'm dying right now, so can you land real quick? I got some meat for you. I got some meat to put into your mouth. I waited somewhat patiently. I was dying, but then it eventually began to land. Yes, 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 yes. I got some juicy meat. Okay, and I'm slow. Please don't take off again. Bang. My buddy. Now, before I could ride this pteranodon, I'm gonna need myself a saddle, of course. Now, carbies typically drop keratin, so I started fighting this one, but it wasn't that simple. No, you stupid Microraptor! Go away. Go away. When I returned, our good old trike was fighting off the Microraptor. You got this. You got this. You got this. Get him. Get him. He's stupid. Now, you might notice that my trike misses a couple times. That's because it's fighting an Unreal Microraptor. And Unreal dinos are modded dinos that have an ability that allow other dinos that are fighting them to miss some of their shots. I like these misses. Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one. Get him. This was an intense battle, but our trike was seeming to win. 2 more hits. Yeah, you got this, bro. You got this. Straight after this, you're getting named, son. 1 more hit. Come on. There we go. Whoa, what the heck? I was so proud of our trike's effort that I had to name him. You have deserved yourself a name. And we named him the name that we do not talk about. We don't talk about Bruno, no. Now, before we start flying off on our pteranodon, I want to make a gravestone. A gravestone will be a way that we can keep our inventory in case we die, especially when we're exploring this map. But first, we need cementing paste. So we're going to have to try and find some beaver dams on the back of our pteranodon and hope we don't die and lose everything. Now, I'm extremely unfamiliar with this map, so I had no idea where I could find some beaver dams. I checked on the Dino Finder to see where some beavers would spawn and figured there would be some beaver dams there. Now, not many beavers spawned on this map, and even when we found the beavers, we didn't actually find any beaver dams. I don't see nothing. All right, we've established that cementing paste on this map might be an issue. Hey, Mr. Beaver Dude, have you made a beaver dam anywhere? I just need to just have a peek inside it, you know? I continued to keep looking, but I just couldn't find any beaver dams. Day 5, since I couldn't find any beaver dams, I just explored this map. It's such a beautiful place, and there's a lot of different biomes that I just wanted to go and check out. We managed to stumble across the Wyvern Trench, and then we ventured onto the Blue Mystical Forest area. This is where you can find some exclusive modded dinos that you can only find on this map, like this magic parasaur. I don't really venture on over here too much because we're trying to just focus on the Descended mod, but still, that's pretty cool, and we did manage to find a beaver, but no beaver dams. Anyways, we returned back to base empty-handed. No cementing paste at all. Instead, I made a Descended hatchet because we had the resources to do that, and that's a win, I guess. And I figured if we can't find any cementing paste, well, we could maybe make some from scratch with some stone and some chitin. Chitin that we could possibly get from a mantis. This is a very low-level mantis, so we should be able to get it a little bit. There we go. A little bit. It wasn't a crazy amount, but it should be enough to get us started so we can at least make this gravestone. Obviously, we need some more stone so we can grind it down into some juicy cementing paste. And then we could finally craft up this gravestone. Except there was one slight catch. Oh no, that's not the right one. It's okay though, we managed to craft up another one because we had enough cementing paste. The correct one this time. All right, we've got a gravestone, so at least we're protected when we go out and venture a bit more. And venture a bit more, we certainly did. I wanted to head over to this island right here. It's something that I had heard about, but I wanted to go check out and show you guys. As soon as you pass through some invisible border, well, it goes dark and it begins raining. When you get closer, it starts raining and it gets dark. I would not live here. It's kind of creepy, but I'd certainly never ever live here. The noise will kind of get to me after a while. And it's riddled with spiders. Even though I'm Australian, I still hate spiders. Day 6 and we continued exploring this map, trying to get a rough idea where all the resources are and what biomes are where. I also wanted to try and suss out a perfect forever base. And I kind of like this Crystal Isles area. It just looks nice. I eventually settled on this area right here. So I immediately went ahead and gathered some resources, just enough to start off some foundations. And yes, I'm going to make it out of stone this time. Once I had enough foundations down, I placed down this large storage box, placed in everything that I had, then returned to our starter base so I could pick up some of the essentials that we had already gathered and return to our new base location. Then we could continue working on this base. I wanted to get down at least all of the foundations first. And of course, since we're built up a little bit high, I wanted to have a place that I could look at and enjoy the scenery. Depends on how you look at it. It could be a hammer, could be 2 eyes and a big nose, or, you know, it could be, you know, I'll let your imagination decide what that is. The very next step of working on our base, of course, is some walls. We had gathered some extra materials, so we could put some up. In previous playthroughs, I had forgotten to put down a bed, so I made sure to do that as soon as possible, alongside this gravestone. The correct one this time. Next, we had to get our Descended Dodo out so it could start passively producing some resources. And of course, because he's going to be chilling with us for quite a while, I gave him a name. I went ahead and named him Bartholomew, the first legend of the Dodo Gang. and he definitely appreciates our merch that you can get in the description below. I went for a quick fly around our local area to see what our neighbors had, and that's when I noticed some pretty scary dinos really close to our base. Bro, he is way too close to our base. And there's a pathway that leads right up there. Brava. And with all of that, I quickly needed to start working on this base and making it strong enough to defend, hopefully, against those creatures. They could wreck our base. This could be bad. And as I was building, we could hear explosions that were relatively close. Well, that doesn't sound too comforting right near our base. The smart decision probably would have been to move bases, but I felt too invested, so we decided to stay. So invested so that I started to place down some crop plots. I need to get some crops down soon so I can start making some of the modded kibbles. Oh no, we need to irrigate. Yes, we do indeed need to irrigate to be able to get our crops going. Thankfully, there's a water source right nearby. Alright, let's see if we can get this water all the way up this mountain. Thanks to wireless water and we don't have to put pipes down anymore, this will be a little bit easier than it used to be in ASE. Day 8, I needed a little bit more water. So I crafted up some more water tanks and also crafted up this fabricator. A little water spout here so we can quench our thirst whenever we need. And then we took off to try and find a certain resource. Specifically, oil. I figured we'd find some in the snow biome, that's usually where you find it on other maps, but we didn't manage to find any easily. I was then told that apparently in the volcano biome, you can hit these certain trees or rocks, I don't know exactly what they are, and they drop electronics. Oh my god, they give us electronics. After a little bit of online research, we found some oil. It was located in the redwoods biome just beneath this water right here. We jumped in the water, had a nice refreshing dip, only to get swarmed by a bunch of piranhas. My only weapon was this pickaxe, and surprisingly it worked pretty well against these little hooligans. I managed to grab some oil whilst I continued to fend off these piranhas. They were proving to be quite the pesky little bastards. And then whilst all this chaos happened, this happened. Oh great, and now we're out of stamina. And we're about to die. Well, look on the bright side. At least we got a quick trip back to base and managed to secure some oil so we could start making some gasoline. Make me some fuel, baby. Whilst that cooked up, I started working on the roof of our base. Oh, that's unsettling. Yes, even with scary noises right outside. It's not quite complete just yet, but we will continue working on it over time. Yeah, that's assuming it'll still be here over time. Anyways, we put a marker down so we could remember how to get here because I'm not super familiar with this map. Day 9, I ventured over to the desert biome where I saw this strange structure. So I went to go and investigate, and turns out this place leads down to an aberration zone. I wanted to go and explore around on foot and see what was down here. We were burning up and about to die, and that's when I saw this thing. If I stand close enough, it should heal me up. It definitely gets rid of the heat, but it doesn't quench my thirst at all. So even though we healed up a little bit, it's probably time for us to get out of here and go and find some water that we can drink. Surely this seawater is safe, right? Now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I went back out to explore. I was given some coordinates from some other people on the server to tell me that there was a bee cave in this direction. And inside this bee cave, we can find some beehives that not only has honey, but it also has polymer. Oh, and some big scary bears. Running in here, butt naked, and then I ran into this. Oh, shit. I quickly grabbed as much of this polymer and honey as possible, and yeah, was brutally murdered. Back at base now, and this is when I placed down an electric generator, followed by some lights to illuminate our base, and an awesome teleporter so we can get back here whenever we need. This map is rather big, so we're going to need it. The next thing I put down was another really important item, a place that we can hold all of our dinos, but it does more than that. It can collect fertilized eggs, incubate those eggs, trap the babies when they are born, and passively produce some resources. Then it was on to our very next tasks. Alright, so a couple things we need to do right now. We need to get ourselves something to produce some dino eggs and a dung beetle. So first things first, I crafted up a crossbow so we can trank some dinos so we can get an egg producer, and crafted up some of these modded advanced trank arrows. Then went out to tame a dodo. They're typically the perfect first egg layer. This particular one was kind of stuck in the rock, and there was a raptor nearby. But that wasn't the only thing we needed to be worried about. There was another little microraptor. No way, dude. Yeah, it got us. Our PT was going wild trying to get back to us. We didn't die this time. We managed to escape, We ended up finding another juvenile dodo nearby, and its mama was nearby. I had planned on killing it, but it was a passive tame. Of course, I couldn't leave the baby here by itself, and I'm not too sure if there are actually egg layers in the normal soul terminal, so I went ahead and knocked out this other vanilla dodo and tamed it just in case the descended dodos don't work like we wanted them to. Oh, I can't leave you by yourself, can I, little dodo? Day 10, and right next to my base, I heard a rather scary noise. This was rather unsettling to be so damn close to my base. That would definitely decimate everything. I'm gonna need to do something about it. I do feel a little bit uneasy where we're built. I'm not gonna lie. For now, I can't worry about that. I need a dung beetle. Bro, there ain't no way I'm getting to that dung beetle. Yeah, maybe not that one. Yep, it's dead. Ooh, that looks like a good place for a dung beetle. Yeah. Oh. 2's much better than 1. 2 dung beetles now secured. It's time to put them into the SCS terminal, and hopefully they'll produce some fertilizer quickly. Make me fertilizer, friends. I went to scout out around my base, and yeah, it wasn't looking pretty. I was kind of worried that our base location wasn't really a good place to be. I'm starting to think we move into a cave. Now, we've done a lot of building, but it's like, we do it now or like never? Had a look at this floating island. It could be a good place to build, except there's someone already here. Yes, I am playing on a server if you didn't know, and other people will be here. Some of these people you'll see later on in this video. My solution for now was to place down these behemoth gates to try and block off the area so that these dinos couldn't get into our base. Is this going to work? I have no idea, but I surely hope so. It definitely does make me feel a little bit safer. So safe, in fact, I went on Bruno to get some more berries around our little area here. Next, I wanted to try and tame myself a descended biotoxin jug bug. I expected it to be a passive tame. It was not, but I could take some biotoxin out of them. So instead of taming them, I just went and stole a bunch of biotoxin for now. And you might be wondering, why the heck do I need biotoxin? Well, that's so I can craft up these even stronger trank arrows. They're called the improved trank arrow. They're like the advanced trank arrow, but better. And with these new trank arrows in hand, I went to go and try and tame a descended phoenix. These are an amazing early game tame and something we need to take on the very first boss. As I approached this one, I realized it was also a passive tame. I didn't need the trank arrows, but they're still good to have. But then I also noticed that I need some prime meat to be able to tame them, efficiently at least. And it's sad to say, but babies are the best way to get prime meat. And we already hold a little grudge against Lystros anyway from earlier, so they needed to die. And then I could get my hands on some prime meat. Not a lot, but it should be enough to get us going. And able to tame this descended phoenix. This might take a while though. It requires a lot to feed. Now, it didn't come close to the ground too often. Not often enough for us to be able to tame it successfully. So I quickly went back to base and crafted this reusable grapple. Because by using this, I could latch onto the side of this descended phoenix. Yep, we hook onto the devilish phoenix, the descended phoenix. And even with our screen having a fit, we are able to feed this phoenix passively. It was such a slow process feeding this phoenix that we didn't get it done until the early morning of day 11. There we go. Now we can just ride you straight away. We didn't drop. I thought we were going to drop. Now, Descended Phoenix is a great early tame for a lot of reasons. Not only is it a flyer, but it does a lot of damage with its fireball attack. It melts some of these weaklings with ease. And since it's a flyer with a ranged attack, we can avoid a lot of sticky situations. Well, unless you're stupid like me and get a little bit too close to Brontos that can do this. Who was that? Something just smacked me up bad. Our Phoenix got banged up quite a bit and it's very hungry, so we came back to base to give it a bit of a break. Since we're going to have a lot of dinos out and about, I figured it's best to put down a feeding trough. I then went to go check our SCS terminal and realized that there was no dodo eggs in here currently. I realized I only had female dodos in the terminal. So the best way to get some eggs in the terminal would be to get a male dodo, which we quickly came to do by taming up a male that was close by and placing him inside the terminal. But then when I checked the terminal settings, I realized something crucial. Damn, it might have helped that whole time if I had unfertilized egg generation turned on. Oh, an idiot. On the plus side, our dung beetle have been getting to work, generating a bunch of fertilizer for our plants. It's now day 12 and I want to show you exactly why we got this Descended Phoenix. It's actually a major thing that we need to be able to help us progress to the next tier. The Descended Phoenix is perfect for defeating the excellent boss, which is this rather tall dodo with a health bar above its head. Even though it has 120,000 health points, we can stay at range, avoid getting hit, and rain fire on its butt. It does hurt when it hits us though. But if we just keep raining fireballs down on its face, we should get this done. Except if you don't maintain doing damage, it heals back up. So I do need to get into kind of a dangerous range and just keep raining hellfire down. Hopefully it doesn't move around too much and we can just keep doing damage. This seems to be working quite well. We consistently did some damage, got it halfway down, but it kept wiggling around and moving. Come on, we got a good thing happening right now. Come back. Making landing hits kind of hard. I was so focused on just doing damage that I forgot about our stamina. So I quickly found this rock, fed our phoenix since it's kind of the only way it will regain stamina, and then got back into this fight. And since the flames do damage over time as well, it can consistently stop it from healing. We were so close to defeating it, but once again, we were running out of stamina and food. Hold on, we're just gonna get some food real quick. Stop back at base for a quick lunch break, then rush back into this fight, where we would finally defeat the excellent essence boss. Hells yeah. But killing it wasn't the end. All right, now apparently a tameable version should come in. Wait, is that you? Come back here. Yeah! We tamed an excellent dodo. We now have our very own excellent dodo. Congratulations, survivor. You have finally blah, blah, blah. I'm sure it's all very important. It's very amazing. We're on to the next tier of dinos. This excellent dodo now produces excellent essence, which we need to be able to make excellent kibble. But we do need quite a bit of excellent essence before we can actually make any kibble. So to kill some time, I continued working on our base. I then wanted to try and get myself some cementing paste. Since we couldn't find any beaver dams earlier, we went out to try and find some chitin. And carcinosis are usually a great way to farm some chitin, but also get some good polymer too. Except actually farming them turned out to be kind of hard, since this fire attack ends up destroying their bodies, and the swamp isn't really a friendly place. Bro, you're not following me, is he? Oh, this stupid running granatha is following me. Am I faster? No, we're about the same. No, he's faster. Really don't want to lose this bird. When we returned back to base, I checked my inventory. We didn't really grab much at all, but we did manage to get a bunch of excellent essence. I then had a look and realized that this mod has its own modded Akatinas, and I wanted to go and see if they required Veggie to be able to tame. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Once I got my spyglass on it, I realized it doesn't require Veggie to tame it. So I stole it out of its natural habitat, brought it back to the safety of our base. Yes, not only does it not need Veggie Cake, it's a passive tame. Once again though, this might take some time. It wasn't until day 13 that we actually tamed this Akatina, but I went ahead and put it in the SCS terminal to see if it'll generate cementing paste inside here. Next, I wanted to double check everything that I needed to be able to craft some excellent kibble. Now we have basically everything except some eggs. So whilst waiting for some dino eggs to produce, we went out to try and kill some big brontos. This was a little bit harder than I expected, so I moved on to killing these parasaurs. Parasaurs are just a little bit easier to kill. Well, that is, unless their friends come to help them fight. Holy Lord. Damn. I was kind of worried that my descended phoenix was going to continue on fighting and might die. So I raced back to go see if it was still alive. And it was. It was getting beaten up though, and that was kind of scary. Oh no, it died. Okay, you died. Because you're stupid. This was pretty inconvenient. With nothing else planned for the day, I went back over to my old original starter base and deconstructed it. Since I'm playing on a server, it's kind of impolite to just leave structures around, especially if you don't plan on using them. I managed to spot this descended gacha as well. I had a little bit of stone on me, so I fed it to him to see if I could tame it and see what they can produce. Alright, what resources can we get from you, my guy? Ooh, essence, wood, gas? Element dust ain't bad. Not the best, but not the worst. I mean, we can use most of these resources this early in the playthrough anyway. Now to just leave him out in base and let him produce some crystals so he can get some free resources. Next, I went ahead and crafted up a refrigerator. This way I can keep some things from spoiling, like some honey, our polymer, and even kibble in the future. After a little bit more research on this mod, I went and saw that I need to get myself one of these Bob Dodos. They have a special ability that will help us greatly when playing this mod. When attempting to tame it, I didn't realize it was going to be aggressive. So the good old strategy of leading it into the water, diving a little bit deep, and shooting it seems to work fine for us. I finally managed to knock this big bird out, but it fell asleep under the water. I was kind of worried it might drown. I don't really know how it's eating though, but hey, yeah, you do you, bro. Good old Bob had survived, and now he is ours. Now let me show you what his special ability does. Basically, if Bob is out near our base and near any other creature that passively produces items in their inventory, well, it'll just collect them. You see, every dino that passively produces something produces something at a certain limit. So some creatures can only produce up to like 300 descended essence or element or whatever, and the Bob Dodo can pick it up and collect as much as you need, which is super crucial to have around your base. To make sure that all of our dinos are passively producing stuff, I put them on a hitching post. I have no idea if this will work or not, but I hope it does. In the meantime, we'll pick up this yellow crystal. Ooh, fancy Mastercraft Riot boots. Don't mind if I do. I also discovered that my Achatina doesn't produce any cementy paste in the SCS terminal. But that's not too much of an issue because we have the Bob Dodo. And the Bob Dodo collects all the cementy paste that we need. But once again, as I was hanging around base, we heard some scary noises. Oh lord, what was that? With that happening outside, I need to make sure to seal up this base as soon as possible. With the greenhouse glass, this should speed up the production of all of our vegetables as well. I then went out to go and mow the lawn. Collect berries. We need narco berries. And if a dino is under level 50, well, I kill it. I need the hide and meat. With all the hide that I collected, I then went ahead and crafted up this excellent armor. It requires a lot to be able to make, but it does look pretty good. Fancy. Things are moving up so fast in the world that we can craft up a whole bunch of new trank arrows. Yeah, we're rich now. But our current Achatina isn't pulling its weight enough. I need more cementy paste, so we're going to tame another one. I also kind of thought that it was going to be able to mate, because typically Achatinas are genderless and they can mate, but not in this mod. No, can't mate. Day 15 and my mission is clear. I want to tame myself a descended griffin. This purple zoomy looking bird is kind of tricky to get my hands on, but I figured I'd try the same method that we did with the descended phoenix. No, it's not a passive tame, but hey, maybe we can keep up with it if it flies away. And this is somehow kind of working until we hit the ground and I get attacked by some prehistoric ants. Now I know you guys watching say I should probably get a trap down. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't do that. I'm kind of lazy. And sometimes you might get attacked by mega raptors. I forgot these were a thing. They're new to ARK. But I can kill it with my crossbow, I guess. It was weak. Anyways, back to trying to tame this descended griffin. Now you might be noticing that we are getting hit by the descended griffin, but we're not taking too much damage. And that's because of the excellent armor. Its damage protection is wildly good. We can tank the hits and keep knocking this bird out. But there is one issue. Because this is a griffin, once we deal too much torpor, it eventually runs away. I go to chase it down, but it gets quite far away. I couldn't keep up with it, so I went back to base and crafted up a trap. I also started running out of trank arrows, so I needed to get some more biotoxin from some of these jug bugs. But instead of stealing the biotoxin, I wanted to tame a jug bug this time. I thought it was going to be a little bit easier than it currently is. It ran away right in front of a Spino. It's a smart jug bug. I ain't running down there. Oh, and somehow I tamed a Pegamastix. This little side quest of ours was turning out to be quite difficult. Yeah, all the other creatures around us wouldn't leave us alone. So I'm forever just running away and not actually taming the jug bug. I do manage to catch up with it though and get a few more arrows straight into its butt. And then it starts to fly away. Then I hear a big roar. I didn't worry about the roar though because I was wearing excellent armor. And this turned out to be quite the mistake. Turns out excellent creatures can still wreck you through excellent armor. I wasn't giving up on this jug bug though, and as I returned to it, it knocked itself out. So I went to go feed it, only to find out I didn't have the right stuff to be able to actually tame it. I need berries or veggies or something else, not excellent kibble. But that Rex from earlier, well, it wasn't letting me get anywhere near it. Oh crap. Hopefully this time we can actually manage to tame it and get this inside a soul ball quickly. No! As we awoke from our slumber of death, I raced back to the jug bug, seeing that it had fully tamed. Unfortunately, because it was our friend, it was no longer the friend of this excellent Rex. And yeah, it died. A brutal death. We did manage to find another one a little bit closer though, and we're gonna just have to tame this. But of course, it's never that simple, is it? You see, in ARK Descended, if there's one of these itchy nonagona stupid thing bird things I hate, well, they come in packs. It can never be that simple. So after stabbing the air like a madman for quite a while, we managed to get rid of some of them, and then we could begin taming this jug bug. Psych, a raptor wanted to come in and play too. I don't think it likes the taste of my long metal down its mouth. Kinda crazy that such a simple tame like a jug bug is turning out to be quite the mission. Anyways, we finally managed to get our hands on this jug bug. Well, it's not actually safe until it's inside a SCS ball. That did not have to be so damn hard. Now the jug bugs do produce biotoxin, but Bob the dodo can't actually pick it up. You've got to hand grab them every single time that they produce enough. Day 16 and I'm on the hunt for a killer. Something like an excellent Rex. I need to start preparing for some boss fights. Yes, I know it's early in the playthrough, but you need to fight lots of bosses in this mod. Taming an excellent Rex is going to turn out to be quite a difficult task. They really do not like being tamed. Trying to tame anything super powerful without a griffin is going to be hard. I need to try and tame one real quick. Having a flying dino that I can shoot off the back of will make taming some of these harder creatures a lot easier. Getting this griffin stuck inside this trap wasn't really working out to plan. That was until it kind of bugged out, and yeah, well, it's stuck in the corner of it. I mean, I'll take it. Yeah, sorry about that. It was eating rather slowly, so we went back to base, crafted up a hungry potion, returned to the griffin, fed it the hungry potion so it would eat quicker, and freaked out to weird noises. Oh, please don't be on my head. We were safe, and now we have our very own descended griffin, which I named Barney because it's purple. You know, like Barney the dinosaur dude from the kids show. I was curious to see if Barney could do any decent damage. And honestly, no, not really. But after all, that's not really why we tamed this griffin. It really has one purpose: help us tame things by getting around the map quickly and the ability to be able to shoot off the back of it, which should be pretty simple, right? What in the Lord? What? What just happened? So yeah, I don't really know what just happened. Quite ashamed from my defeat, so I went and did something that I knew I could do well. I could name my new tribe. We named it Dodo Gang. Day 17, I crafted up a long neck and some of these descended tranquilizer darts, hoping that they will do a little bit more damage than our current crossbow. And then I went back to trying to tame a Rex. But without a griffin, it's yeah, it's quite hard. No, go away. Descended has to be one of the most hardest mods at the early game. When I get a little bit stuck in this mod, I go to the guide that they provided when we playing this in their Discord. And in the guide, it suggests that we try and get our hands on a descended dodo wyvern, which I originally thought would have been a hard thing to do, but then I realized it's a passive tame. So I raced back to base so I could craft up some kibble, then came back to the descended dodo wyvern and used the old grapple hook trick to be able to get my hands on it. But of course, it would not be that simple. There was a descended Madagascar right below that didn't want me to do this. I managed to feed it once, and soon after, feed it again. Now we have our very own descended dodo wyvern. Pretty much the ugliest creature you can get, but should do the job. Now these dodo wyverns have 3 different abilities. All 3 abilities that come with all the normal wyverns. You have the fire breath attack, the poison bomb, and of course the lightning. And it does a ton of damage. This Rhinoganatha did not stand a chance. But do you remember that annoying Madagascar from earlier that tried to stop us from taming this thing? Well, it returned. And it can kill you off the back of the dodo wyvern. We just tamed this dodo wyvern and I am really hoping it doesn't die. I managed to return to the dodo wyvern, whistle it back to myself, and put it away in the SCS ball. Then I got it back out, jumped on the back of it, made sure to give it one of these awesome trackers so in case it does happen again, we can get it back to us whenever we could, and then start fighting this descended Madagascar. Pesky skinny rat is now dead. Day 18, and we went to go tame another dodo wyvern, particularly so we can start breeding them so, you know, just in case they die, which is likely going to happen. To be able to get my grip on it, I took a risky move, jumped onto the side of this cliff, and got my grapple hook onto it, then began the feeding process. Look at me go. This tame was quite a simple one. So simple in fact, we can now start breeding up both of our new dodo wyverns. And it didn't take too long for an egg to appear in our SCS terminal. Now while we wait for the egg to hatch and then grow up so we can actually use a descended dodo wyvern, I wanted to flatten out some of our land just at the front of our base. I couldn't have my dodo wyverns breed inside the base, and I kind of just wanted to extend this out just so it was just a better space for them to be able to breed. Later on in the day, I put down one of these things, the CS Gardener. It'll collect all of our veggies and all of our crops. And so we can finalize the hatching of this egg, I placed down some air conditioners right next to our SCS terminal. Day 19, I need metal, and a lot of it. So I went and got myself a miner. No, not an underage child, a pink Anki. It's another passive tame, but this might take a while. I had some metal gates on me, so I wanted to kind of trap it in here so it didn't fall off the cliff or, you know, get anywhere else that's dangerous. Then I could safely and slowly feed it over time. All up until we could finally tame it. It wasn't alone here, there was a baby nearby, and I can't just leave it here to fend for itself. Now we got a real proper miner. No diddy. Now, it's one thing to have a mining Anki, but it's another thing to try and find a safe place that we can actually harvest some metal without the possibility of dying. From scouting around the map earlier, we did find this location right here that was kind of up high and there was a little bit of metal around. And man, this mining Anki gathers a whole lot of resources. Not only just metal, rock and stuff, but also berries. But another ability that this mining Anki has, it actually smelts up the metal that's inside it. It's not super fast, but I guess it helps. Even later on in the day, our baby descended wyvern has fully grown up. I went ahead and named it Diane. I don't know where they came from, but hey, yeah, Diane's her name. And Diane is imprinted, so it's pretty damn strong. This way I could hunt down some of these mantises and use my modded pickaxe to get a whole bunch of resources. Specifically chitin and a bit of polymer. I had also made a chemistry bench so we could speed up the process of making some narcotics. We're going to start knocking out a lot of creatures now, so we're going to need a lot of narcotics. We had gathered enough cementing paste finally so I could finish off this greenhouse roof of this side of the base. All the roof is done. We got 300%. We have 300% greenhouse effect. Yeah, baby. Day 20, and I wanted to make one of these war generators. I want to have one here. Not that I'm ever going to use it, but it's just so I can kind of see what I need to be able to summon stuff in. Bro, we need artifacts for days, bro. In order for us to progress any further right now, I need to defeat at least one of these combat bosses. They're basically the vanilla bosses, but because we're playing on a modded map, we can't fight the vanilla bosses. We need to fight these ones. Now, to actually be able to fight it, well, I need some tributes, which we're going to start farming right now. We're hunting down Brontos so we can get our hands on some sauropod vertebrae. And of course, some of these Diplos as well, because they also drop them. But after fighting quite a few, our girl Diane got kind of beat up, so it was time to give her a bit of a break. Diane's getting pretty beat up. Again, I referred back to the Descended guide, and they said that the best dino to be able to tame would be an excellent fairy to be able to fight these bosses. But before attempting to tame one of them, I wanted to come and show you guys this. We built a boss fighting arena. This is kind of essential when you're playing this mod. It's just easier to find a different place separate from the entire world that you can fight some of the bosses. It's a separate mod that you can build, and it just separates everything. It makes fighting bosses way more simple, so you don't have to deal with any other creatures that might interfere in your boss fight. And it was here that I summoned in the loot boss, which, if you didn't know, well, yeah, it drops loot. I was a little bit overconfident when fighting this thing. Our girl Diane, well, kind of struggled fighting it. We tried to get it jammed into a corner so we could actually do a little bit more damage. Because it's so small and we're so big, actually hitting it was kind of tricky. You may have also noticed that we do miss a bunch of times, so the flame attack seems to be the only thing that kind of does a little bit of damage. And this loot boss was doing a ton of damage to me. We needed to rethink our strategy. This is awkward. I can get my ass beat. I had to return back to base to try and figure out how I'm supposed to beat this thing. I can't just leave him in the boss fighting arena. I made a couple of these health potions, but quickly realized that the Descended health potions low-key suck. So I had to make the crazy potions workbench, and you then craft up the health potions from it. Then we could teleport straight back to the boss fighting arena and return back to the loot boss, only to find this. No way it got its health back. It is what it is. Either way, we're gonna get back into this fight and try and defeat this thing. Hopefully with the help of these potions. It was a slow grind, but we just kept at it. Bro, these misses are really annoying me now. Oh, it's healing itself. No, this is bullshit. It was starting to get quite frustrating. It would heal up over time as well. I ended up dismounting Diane and yeah, it almost died. Managed to get it away in an SCS ball, and then I had to try and run for my own life. I have no idea where I plan on going right now. Oh, de-aggroed. Alright, as a reminder, you gotta be mega prepared for every fight. Yes, we are certainly not prepared to be able to fight no boss right now. So it's back to trying to do exactly that and prepare for it by taming an excellent Therizino. Managed to find a good one that we could tame, pretty decent level, and begin attempting to knock it out. Of course, it's not gonna be that simple. It did run away. Dino pathings. I did manage to track it down, but I wanted to keep height, because if it chased after me, I'd be one-shot and dead. The fact that it was stuck in the water was actually working to our advantage. Therizinos are actually quite fast on land, but kind of slow in the water. So when it eventually runs away, we still have a chance to be able to knock it out. I just have to try and rely on my terrible aim. One more. No, not one more. Fed it some of the kibble, and now we have our very first excellent Therizino. Of course, I didn't waste any time trying to get my hands on another one so we can get a breeding pair. But this wannabe Charmander didn't want us to try and tame this Theri at all. But I didn't do nothing to you. Oh, you're dead, bro. Man. So yeah, the Parasaur killed the theory that we're trying to tame. But like they always say, whenever I get dumped by a really cute girl, there's always plenty more fish in the sea. And when they run away from me, well, I gotta chase them down like a crazy predator. Oh, shit. Day 22, I caved in, and yes, I'm gonna make a trap. I'm gonna keep it kind of simple though, using a bear trap and some billboards. The tricky part though is trying to get its attention and then get it caught in the trap without dying. Damn it, why don't you go in the trap? I'm determined to tame this theory, no matter what it takes. So again, I return back to it, and I look over to the distance, and it doesn't look too promising at all. Whoa, that's unnerving. Great. Please don't come and fuck us up. Run away, Therizino, run away. You're dead. Don't worry, I'll be dead any second now. I mean, that was bound to happen eventually. That Therizino is definitely dead. So with that being said, we're going to find a different one to tame. This particular one doesn't seem to have anything too dangerous around it. So I approached it and then tried to trap it in with my billboards. What the fuck? Go away, cunt. I need this theory, but I also need these peggos to go away. So whatever I could, I would pick them up, go off to the edge, and throw them off it. But when I wanted to go knock this thing out, well, it jumped off a cliff. No, don't go over the edge. Now I just needed to figure out how I'm supposed to trap this thing without it attacking me, since it one hits me and yeah, I don't want to die again. So I just decided to go back to the good old Spider-Man knockout technique. I managed to do a ton of torpor damage, but it started running away only to get chased by this stupid griffin. So I began my chase, and we entered the water once again. With the theory back in the water, I was able to knock it out, but where it knocked out was not in a great place. Oh no, that aloe's not good. Either way, I'm going to attempt to feed this and try and escape. We got it, we got it, we got it. Now we just got to escape from whatever the hell that was shaking the screen. It wasn't easy, but it's going to be worth it. We now have a breeding pair of excellent therizinosaurs. Day 23, while our excellent therizinos are breeding up an army, we're back out hunting down tributes for this boss fight. Today, we're specifically on the hunt for Titan Boa Venom, which is turning out to be a little bit harder to get than I thought. Not every Titan Boa drops it. Day 24, I went over to the magic biome. I knew that some of the creatures that we needed for tributes would be here. And we came here because I figured at least all of these creatures would be at least the vanilla level, so I didn't have to run into some crazy Dodorexy or something. Ran into the occasional Argentavis, so I took that out for some tributes. And then I returned back to base to check what else I am missing. Currently, it's quite a bit. But whilst I was out looking for some more tributes, I found another descended gacha and figured I might as well tame it, right? See if we can get some good resources from them. I ended up getting my hands on quite a few of them. We kind of lucked out and didn't really get anything that drops good resources or anything that we really need, but I suppose that's why they're called gachas, right? It's always a gamble. Day 25 and we find ourselves in the ocean, trying to get our hands on an excellent Basilosaurus. Surely a simple task, right? Wrong. No! Go away, bro. Now you might be wondering to yourself, why would I need an excellent Basilosaurus? Well, to be able to summon in a combat boss, I need artifacts. And apparently there's a couple artifacts under the ocean that aren't too hard to get to. Apparently. And in my personal opinion, a Basilosaurus is one of the best creatures to be able to navigate the depths of the ocean. Let me introduce you to Bessie the Bassie. And Bessie the Bassie can't be grabbed by any of the big squids and can't be electrocuted by any of the jellyfish. So it should keep it well protected. Also, I do need to get myself on some Tuso's tentacles, so we might as well take some out while we're down here. Grab, grab, grab. Can I TP away? What happens if I TP with Bassie? No, just get out. We're stuck. Get out, 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 get out. No, dude, bro. So yeah, that was quite the failure. But I like to think that I'm quite the persistent person. So we're back in the ocean, taming another Bassie. Why not, right? And after some online investigations, there should be an artifact right below where we are currently. Being that this is a modded map, the information is quite scarce, so it didn't really work out for us. We looked around for quite a while and couldn't find a single artifact. So on day 26, we moved on to a different task. We had a lot of grown-up excellent Therazinos now, so we could fight a boss, just not the combat boss. We're going to fight the loot boss. Hopefully this time, our second attempt, we can actually defeat this stupid bird-looking Dimorphodon. Yo, was that like way easy? Well, will you look at that? We were able to defeat the loot boss with rather ease. And what did we get from it? A bunch of artifacts. Now we don't have to worry about trying to find them in the stupid water that we keep dying in. There were some doubles of the artifacts down there, and the best way to be able to gather them is with an otter that we can summon. There we go. What's up, little cutie? This otter will passively pick up artifacts that are on the ground and can hold multiple of them. It's actually a really handy tool to have. And with that, we summoned in 5 loot bosses at the same time. I figured since we were able to kill 1 so easily, maybe 5 of them should be even easier. I don't know. I was sweating my stinky armpits off like crazy, thinking that I'd lose my entire army of Therazinos. But we were able to get it done. Good work, hombres. And our otter was able to collect a whole bunch of artifacts. All right, so artifacts, we don't have to worry about going to artifact caves anymore. Screw that. I really like this otter. It's pretty damn cute. So I had to name it Geraldine. Geraldine. To celebrate our little bit of win and our big progression, I got rid of some of these forges to replace it with, well, you'll see. The Descended Industrial Forge. I was kind of hoping it was going to be small. Oh man, why are you going to be massive, bro? Now, because it was so big, I had to move some things around our base to make it fit. I just swapped where the chem bench was to right here. It's not pretty, but it'll do. It's now day 27, and we're back getting some tributes for this boss fight. Well, that was until I entered the redwoods and forgot about this one little detail. Yeah, Thylacolios love to pounce on you if you get too close. Fuck. I was taking a little gander through my cosmetic inventory, and that's when we saw this. I had no idea that we had this, but apparently it gives us an extra buff. I think it gives us like 10% damage protection or something. I don't know. Either way, it helps. Especially while we're out here gathering tributes. Well, that is until we accidentally hit this Argentavis, which then in turn hits that dragon, and yeah, it gets bad. Oh, damn it, that's not what I was trying to do, bro! For some reason, Argentavises ended up being like the death of us. I didn't even know what hit us. Oh, it was a rock drake. Day 28. We're collecting more tributes. Yeah, it's a grind. Day 29, we just needed to gather a little bit more Titan Boa Venom, and then we were done. We could now officially summon in the combat spider boss. So our next step was to start preparing for the spider boss by gathering up some berries so we can make some health potions. We need tons of Narca berries for him, so I ended up placing down some more crop plots so we could grow our very own Narca berries as well. Then I wanted to release all of our fairies that we were taking into the boss fight and begin leveling them up. They didn't have tons of levels, but we'll take whatever we can get. Finally, since they have more health points now, I put them away in the SCS balls so they could heal back up. Next step in preparing for this boss fight was to be able to make some saddles for some of our fairies. I couldn't put saddles on all of them, but I got what I could. Then I had to start getting out all of these Therazinos in the boss arena. There's actually quite a lot of them. What I did though was set up different groups of them in different areas so we could send them in separate waves. Hopefully they don't all rush in at once because they kind of get in each other's way and block each other. But I think we're set up and ready to go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we're so screwed. 5.6 million's nuts. I was nervous about this one for sure, but we sent in our first lot of Therazinos and our second lot straight after. We couldn't see much, but a lot of damage numbers. Half its health is down there? Wait, we have a shot at this. We have a real shot. We have a real shot at this. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Let's freaking go. I have no idea how we just pulled that off, but we had officially defeated our very first major boss, the combat spider boss. Oh, yeah, this excellent Therazino is not dead. Oh, I thought you were dead. You're not dead. You're asleep. Were you sleeping during the fight? Sleeping during the fight? I'll let you rest now, but damn. From defeating that boss, we could then claim our spoils. Ooh, there we go. What's this? Green combat tribute? Let's go. Lots of element. This is what drops directly from the boss. but you also get stuff in your inventory as well. Oh, what's this? Combat loot box. Open it to give you some rewards. What'd I get? Let's go, baby. Combat essence. We're fucking... Let's go! Combat essence is a crucial resource for us to be able to progress. Oh, we had also unlocked some tech engrams since it was a boss. Nothing crazy that we can use just yet, but hey, we'll probably use stuff later. Now that we have some combat essence, we can now craft unreal kibble. But also to be able to craft more, I need some more jerky. And we only had a little bit, so we're going to craft up a little bit more by placing down these descended preserving bins and set them up to start producing jerky. It sometimes takes a while, so, you know, we'll start it now. Anyways, I suppose we should probably get out and tame ourselves an unreal dino. I want to start with something simple like this unreal dilo. It does have 77,000 torpor. I don't know if this is going to be easy or hard, but we'll find out. Okay, this ain't gonna work. Well, I guess that answers that. Since we're going to require to do a ton of torpor, I wanted to go and search some drops to see if I can get some better knockout gear. Searching to see if I can get a better crossbow or even a really good long neck rifle. We got extremely lucky with this particular drop. We managed to get an ascended crossbow BP. I really wanted a long neck, but the crossbow is just going to have to do. Typically, I'll add the upgrade bench into our mod pack, but I wanted to challenge myself a little bit more. And so far, it's kind of working out, I guess. We crafted up this ascended crossbow, returned back to the Unreal Dilo, and then trapped it with these billboards. I hit it once with our crossbow, and it shot some fireballs at me and killed me immediately. So when I returned, I made sure to just stand at a distance and shoot. We missed a bunch because that's the effect of the Unreal Dilo, but because the ascended crossbow was doing so much torpor, we were able to knock it out and successfully tame this Unreal Dilo. Now that we're at the Unreal tier, we have leveled up in power. But these dinos also come with another ability that's super important for us to progress, but I'll show you that a little bit later. For now, we're gonna kill things because it's fun. Ooh. My man's is dangerous-ish, kinda. When Unreal Dinos attack, they do damage over time. They can constantly just keep killing. And like mentioned earlier, when things try to attack us, they tend to miss quite a bit. This makes farming certain dinos pretty damn good. Of course, there is a lot more stronger dinos out there, so we're gonna avoid some of them. But if I know that they're weak, well, we're gonna kill them. Anyways, let me show you that ability that I mentioned earlier. You see, if you have an Unreal Dino at home back at base just out, it should produce over time Unreal Essence. And we need Unreal Essence to be able to craft the next kibble for us to be able to get to the next level of dino, which is excellent bosses. But I know that's going to be quite difficult to do, so I want to get my hands on another Descended Griffin. Yeah, since the last one died on us, yeah, we want to get more. This particular one was protected by the Celestial Griffin, so trying to tame it, well, it didn't work out to plan. Well, so I thought. I returned back to that griffin the next day and noticed it was knocked out. We must have done a good job or something. I don't know. Either way, we now have a Descended Griffin, but it doesn't end there. I want to get a mate for it. Since the last one died so easily and, you know, things tend to die on me easily, I wanted to make sure I had backups. Where it went down was in kind of a sticky place. There was a lot of crazy, scary creatures nearby. So I teleported back to base so I was out of render and just stared at the progress bar until it was done. Then I returned back to it, put it in an SCS ball, came back to base, and began the breeding process. Whilst I wait for some griffins to grow up, I went out to try and kill some rock drakes. I wanted to try and collect some rock drake feathers to try and get myself a rock drake later, but in the meantime also gather up some boss essences. But when I tracked a bunch of rock drakes that were underneath the earth, I just didn't feel like going down there. And we ended up having a male Descended Griffin born already. Now it wasn't fully grown up, so I couldn't use that one, but I could just take the current male that we had and then replace it with the new one that was coming. I then went out to try and attempt to tame a poison drake. At this very point in time, I didn't know this isn't actually how you can tame them. I hit it with my trank arrow, but as you can see, it did no torpor damage at all. And it was super fast, so we just escaped. Day 33, I remembered that I had an excellent Therizino, and they're perfect gatherers for a lot of things. And they can also hold themselves down in certain fights. Like this Vanilla Rex got slapped in the face a couple times and is now dead. I then went to go hunt down a Flame Dodo Rexy. Dodo Rexys fit inside the excellent boss tier, and I really want the flame version. And because these Dodo Rexys are stuck in this canyon, I figured I'd try and trap them in with some metal gates. I also learned the proper way to be able to tame an excellent boss was that you needed to get its health down below 50%, and then you could start dealing torpor damage. Now, with an excellent Therizino that I was riding and another one that I took with me, I sent it into fight. But because of the pathing, it didn't want to jump down. It's okay though, because we do have a solution. Basically, I could just throw it down in there with them and send it into fight. This was kind of an experiment to see if our Therazinos actually had a chance. First thing we noticed is, well, our metal gates do not have a chance, and our Therazino really wasn't doing any damage. It got obliterated. Maybe if I ride the Therazino and I just charge in and using my real life smarts, I can actually defeat it. I mean, that went about as good as we all expected. I did a little bit of research, and the guide suggests that you try and tame an Indominus Rex and try and get its attention and take it into the water, since it's supposed to be the best place to be able to knock it out, which we managed to do. But now I have to figure out how I'm supposed to sustain enough damage against this thing. And on a flying mount like the Dodo Wyvern, it's not that easy. So the next day I had an idea. I'm gonna tame this unreal Dinosuchus. In the safety of the sky on the back of my Griffin, I was able to shoot down at this Dinosuchus. The thing was moving so fast that I had to get off my Griffin. It just was kind of tricky to fly around and keep shooting. It ran away at quite a distance, but I was able to land the final shot and put it to sleep. And I was able to secure one of these Dinosuchuses. Of course, I'm not going to leave it there. I need to tame a mate. I've learnt my lesson many times over. If we don't have backup dinos, they tend to die. And that's our female breeder finally secured. Now we can't do anything right now about these Dinosuchuses, as we need to let them start breeding up. So in the meantime, we keep ourselves busy by crafting up this vault so that I could store some of the stuff that's been collecting in Bob. He's been making up a ton of resources, and also went out to go collect some more metal, but I need to kill some more time still. So I went and decorated our base, turning it into the ice sculpture base. Some of the skins that you can buy in ASA are actually pretty damn dope. Day 35, we continued working on this base until we had some Dinosuchuses ready for us to be able to use. And this is basically what it looks like currently. Bringing new meaning to blue balls. But it wasn't until too long that we had a Dinosuchus that was ready to ride. Before attempting to tame an excellent boss, I wanted to level it up and also test it out. Yeah, this thing hits goddamn hard. Now, if it wasn't obvious, the other reason why I got this was because if you remember earlier, the best way to be able to tame some of these excellent bosses was to be able to go in the water. Now, Dinosuchus is great on land and in water as well. Come to think of it, these things are the best excellent boss tamers, really. So with that being said, let's begin the process of trying to get our hands on an excellent Indominus Rex. Leading it out to the water didn't turn out to be that difficult. I think it really wanted some juicy crocodile tail. And now this Indominus Rex was in my playground, right in the water. We were dealing a decent amount of damage, getting its health down quite a bit. But my Dinosuchus was getting rather hungry, and I was kind of concerned that I might run out of stamina if we just keep, going like this. So I went back to base to stock up on some meat and some health potions, because why not? You never know, we might need them. And then we can return to this fight knowing very well that we had a full stomach and health potions to keep us in this fight. Now, excellent bosses have a tendency to regain their health rather quickly. But because our Unreal Dino can do damage over time, it can stop that from happening. But getting this boss's health down to the required amount so I could start taming it did take quite a while. I did manage to get it stuck in a position where it kept spinning around and couldn't bite me. Alright, we should be able to deal torpor soon. I'm not good at maths, but what's half of 720? Once we got its health down enough, which seems to be just below half its health, we could start dealing torpor. But that's when I realized our crossbow wasn't really doing a lot of damage. I'm doing not even 100 torpor? Alright, there's something really wrong here. Plus this dino having 500,000 torpor? Yeah, we're gonna have to rethink the strategy. So once again, I teleported back to base, and I kind of had a suspicion on what I needed to do. I think I'm gonna need some excellent metal trank arrows, which of course will require a metal compound bow. I think this will work, but we'll soon find out. I went to shoot this, and then I realized, well, we haven't damaged it enough again. It regained its health, so yeah, we have to do some more damage. And I wanted to get its health down quite a bit, so if it does regain health over time, we don't have to worry about it for a while. Now to test this theory, we hit it, and bang, it's doing a ton more torpor damage. The metal arrow is the way to go. It took us a little while to actually understand how this mechanic worked, but basically we use this metal arrow to start the torpid active mode. When the torpor active mode is active, we can then start dealing more torpor with all of our other weapons. And by using this strategy, we were able to knock out this excellent Indominus Rex. Ooh. And we should tame you. Yes, baby! Let's enjoy this moment. Hell yeah, we got our very own excellent Indominus Rexinus. Now, I know this might be a little bit risky, especially in Descended, but I had to test this beast out. I was damn excited to see if this thing was super powerful and enough to be able to take on some of the top tier bosses. And yes, it was pretty decent. So for a big chunk of this day, we just kept feeding it lots of meat. Alright, so right now I'm just going around killing things, not only to try and get some stuff stuff that we know we need, but try and farm some tributes too. I know we need to fight the other combat bosses eventually. Day 38, we got back on Bruno to go collect some more narco berries. Yes, we're going to need to tame another Indominus Rex, but we need to prepare for it too. I then wanted to see which one was more effective. Was our Anki more effective, or was Bruno, our trike, more effective? And I kind of liked the way our Anki worked, because we still gathered metal and stone as well, which we also need. I then added some more protection around our base by placing down some more behemoth gates, since we had gathered so many resources on our minor Anki. I was running low on rare mushrooms, which I need to be able to make some excellent kibble, so we came over to the swamp on one of our ferries to try and gather up some. It wasn't as effective as I'd kind of hoped, but we did get some, and it should get us through for now. Now, before fighting the next Indominus Rex, I wanted to make some Unreal armor for our Unreal Dino. And this armor you add to the costume slot on the Dino so that we could get some more armor essentially. So on day 39, we're going to try and tame another excellent Indominus Rex. Again, it's a pretty straightforward process, but with the armor, we do avoid damage quite a bit. We use the water to play it at our advantage again, but it still managed to hit us sometimes. And then doing what I can to get its health down before we can start knocking it out. The added advantage about riding on this Dino is the fact that I can shoot off the back of it as well. This means my oversized crocodile can tank some hits while I deal torpor. Bro, why am I stuck? Why am I stuck? Oh my lord, that was not fun. It does come with a catch of not being able to control our Dinosuchus very well, but we did manage to get back into the action pretty quickly. We had dealt quite a bit of torpor damage, but then we ran into a slight problem. The Indominus Rex, well, it started healing up, so we couldn't actually deal any more torpor damage. So we had to begin doing some more damage to it again, but during this period, its torpor would drain massively. This was a slight inconvenience, but we managed to regain all the ground that we had lost. Come on, this is it, this is it. This is it, this is it. Yeah, baby. And with that one chaotic battle, we were able to tame our second excellent Indominus Rex. Then returned to our base, went outside, and I saw this. Nah, bro. Fuck! They were inside our gates. I teleported away just because I was scared and didn't want them to do anything. I don't know what to do other than just hide out here for a bit. I'm sure we blocked the spawns, bro. Only way to do it is to kite them away. We're literally about to risk it for everything. Like, we could lose everything. I'm pretty sure these things can destroy my base. Nervously, I prepared to kite these dinos away from my base. I got my griffin out, and as I tried to open the door, I dismounted, which then enraged the Indominus Rex and the Reaper. No! No! You're kidding me. Upon my death, I realized I couldn't even respawn back at base. My bed was destroyed. Oh no. I respawned at one of the respawn points as close to my base as possible, and then I messaged the guys that were in the current server. I need help ASAP. I got them to join a Discord call and explain the situation. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear them because I didn't have the audio set up correctly. But first, I begged one of the guys to come and pick me up and take me back to my base. Or what was left of it. This pink Power Ranger came through clutch and lent me one of their dodo wyverns. And then I could return back to see what was left of my base. There was another member on the server currently that had already kited the dinos off the cliff, and now all I could do is just try and fill up all my inventory before all of these bags disappear. I begged these guys to help me and just start collecting stuff and filling up their dinos. I collected everything that I possibly could, but most importantly grabbed all the dinos out of my SCS terminal. These guys were going to act as storage containers as well. I wanted to make sure I can get everything back from my inventory from earlier, so I crafted up a gravestone, placed it down to see if that would work, and thankfully it worked. This surely does suck, but I'm just super glad that I'm not going to have to start completely at square one. We were able to salvage some stuff. We had dinos scattered all over the place, just collecting all of my loot. Thankfully, I had some spare resources that I could put down some foundations, not to build a base, we're definitely moving, but to build some storage boxes so the guys could start dumping all of my stuff into them. This is another reason why I love playing on servers. It's a really great way to bring the community together to be able to do some really cool stuff and help when your base gets destroyed. So with that being said, I created an alliance and we called it the Dodo Legion, where I'd go ahead and invite my saviors to the alliance. First being Coco, the pink Power Ranger, and secondly Polydina, wearing the excellent armor. Yeah, there's just no Power Ranger here. With all of my stuff somewhat secured, we're gonna have to move bases, and I need to try and find somewhere to live. Somewhere where I consider to be super safe, hopefully. I did consider these floating islands in the desert, but honestly, I didn't really like the noise of this wind and stuff. I went to try and find some caves, but I'm really unfamiliar with this map and don't know exactly where any of them are, and even if they're buildable inside. This particular artifact cave looks kind of safe, I guess, but it's just too small for how I like to build my bases and live. But then I remembered a location earlier that I think might be perfect for us to build on. This extinction tower. Absolutely nothing spawns here, and it's large and open, but most importantly, you can actually build here. This is the perfect location for us. So I began by laying down some basic foundations, teleporting to our old base, but yeah. You're taking the piss. There was an alpha Dodorexy that had spawned in our base area. Proper taking the piss. I grabbed one of my Therazinos on my Dodo Wyvern and just raced back to our new base location. Dropped off some of the stuff in our Griffin that we'd picked up from the old base, and then had to figure out a way to kite this Dodorexy away without either one, me getting murdered, or it destroying all of my stuff once again. Or the freaking... Did you know that Alpha Dodorexys have homing missiles? That's crazy. No! Well, yeah, that was the one that we borrowed. Sorry, Coco, I killed your Dodo Wyvern. I do have more, though. I owe you one, I guess. Yeah, I've had some pretty unlucky times in my playthroughs before, but this has to take the cake. All I can really do is just try and grab what I can and escape, whilst I try and move stuff to our new base location. Probably a good idea to place down a bed, too, so we can respawn here if we need. And a gravestone so we can get our stuff back, and another gravestone to commemorate, well, my sanity. Day 45, we could officially say goodbye to our old base location. And I mean goodbye as in like, well, it was all destroyed anyway, but you know, we could get rid of all the things that were left and continue filling out the rest of our new base. It's here where we're gonna have to live out the rest of our days in solitude and remain safe. You guys remember how we ran out of rare mushrooms before and we tried to go farm them, but we didn't have much luck? Yeah, the ordinary loot box does come with a bunch of them, and we've been stacking up on them since we've been kind of grinding away at this game. I'm just super grateful. Even though we lost everything, we managed to get our Indominus Rexes back. Like, we only just tamed both of them, so we could start breeding them right now. Breeding our Indoms, and they didn't die, so we're not like set back, just super inconvenient. There was one issue though. I need to try and figure out a way to get water up into our base that's really high in the sky. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna reach. So I thought we'd kind of test this situation out. If we place down these water tanks outside, it should rain and fill them up. And just like that, it so happens to start raining, so we just place down a whole bunch of these tanks. See, the water's filling up. The water's filling up. Very slowly. Day 42, I was struggling to get water as quick as I needed, so I started placing down some foundations down below so I could create a little farm down here. This will be a temporary greenhouse until we can figure out the water up above. I also found that you could craft and then summon a Bob, the descended pig. And Bob can poop a lot, so he can help us create some fertilizer for our crops. He also passively produced descended essence as well, so we can use that too. It was now that one of our Indominus Rexes had babies and was fully grown up, so we could go and test this bad boy out. With its imprinted levels, it actually does a ton more damage than its parents. It's moments like this that I'm super glad that even though we did lose our entire base, we didn't lose most of our dinos and we didn't have to start from scratch. It was just a small hiccup in our journey along the way. Day 43, I just took in the sights. The view from our new base is absolutely fire. It makes you really appreciate this map. What a beautiful map, bro. But we can't enjoy it for too long. We've got some work to do. Starting with some farming. Yeah, we did lose some resources, so we kind of need to gather some more, especially since I want to work on our base a little bit. It's just some foundations and crafting tables for now. Eventually, I want it to actually look good. We did also lose our Acatinas since they were out, and so that I could get some quick and easy cementy paste, I went to go kill some Carcanoses so I could get some polymer and chitin, obviously. I needed some so I could craft up the industrial forge once again. And we're back in the boss fighting arena. We're setting up to fight that Unreal boss right there. The Unreal Loot Guardian drops crucial items for us to be able to fight more bosses. And with our small little army, maybe we could defeat this thing? I don't know. So far, we did manage to do a bit of damage, and we got it down below its half health. 3, 2... Oh, okay. It was a bit earlier than I expected. We managed to defeat the Unreal Loot Guardian. Our theories really didn't do much. But let me show you what it drops that really helps us progress. Ascended Apex Loot Jar. Hey, there we go. There we get tons of tributes. Now this way, we don't have to keep farming tributes out in the wild. It became quite a drag and took ages. Day 44, and I made a massive mistake. I made a big mistake. I accidentally summoned a freaking loot boss in my base. I was trying to summon in my otter, but I accidentally tapped on the loot boss instead. I got a little army out, and we're just gonna have to fight him. Whistle them passive. Get his attention. I wanted to kite him as far away from our foundations as possible. I didn't want a repeat of what had already happened. Stay away from my damn base, boy. We did at least manage to make him stand still and keep munching away at its health until we could finally defeat him and avoid that chaos. On the bright side, we did get some new loot. That's good, I guess. I then went ahead and started adding some more foundations to our base to extend it out a little bit more. But soon remembered we were missing some crucial dinos. Every single dino that was out and not protected by the SCS terminal was completely obliterated. So we now need to go and replace them, starting with the good old Bob Dodo. Now we don't have to worry about Unreal dinos or even Descended dinos. Our Unreal Dinosuchuses will produce Unreal Essence, and our Bob the Phiomia will produce Descended Essence, which should get us by for now. So for the rest of this day, I just kept farming Unreal bosses. Go 3 at once. This could be good, this could be bad. We will soon find out. Should have just done 2. That was greedy. 3 was bad. And yes, this in fact did turn out to be a pretty silly mistake. I got overconfident thinking I could just defeat 3 at a time since we've been easily defeating 1. Our small army was absolutely obliterated. Day 45, once again, we're making some extensions to our base. Now I'm just trying to make it look a little better than just some foundations. I really like the view, so I wanted to make a balcony so we could look over and enjoy it. But also, our water tanks have been working quite well that I'm just going to build a farm up here. We had so many that they've collected enough water that they should work. I placed this water tank down right here just to make sure it all reaches. And finally, seal off our greenhouse with obviously greenhouse walls and roofs. Now, whilst we wait for our veggies to grow, it's back to the boss fighting arena. We need to fight more combat bosses, so I need some more tributes. Which means, yes, we are fighting some more Unreal Guardians. I'm just planning on farming them until we have enough. Or even more than we need. I don't know, we just have heaps to summon. And on day 46, we had enough tributes to be able to summon in the combat gorilla boss. So yes, we're about to fight this blue Harambe. These combat bosses are considered alpha tier bosses. But thankfully, because we're not fighting them in the arena, we can bring as many dinos to this fight that we need. The normal vanilla only has a limit of 20. This one, well, unlimited. And this gorilla does not like my Therizino army. But my Endom, well, it was kind of getting a little bit beat up. So I'd get a little bit of distance, throw out some more fresh Therizinos, and send them into fight. As you could see, a few of our current Therizinos were dying over time, but we were also doing a ton of damage. And just like that, we were able to defeat the combat gorilla boss. Now, it is suggested that you hold off trying to defeat the dragon boss. It is extremely much more harder. Instead, we want to move towards these bosses here, like the Sin of Element, the Sin of Power, and the Sin of Unreal. But before we could summon them in, we need to get some excellent boss essence that you can only get from killing excellent bosses out in the wild. Now, I had a pretty powerful excellent boss myself, so I figured defeating some of these bosses was going to be a piece of cake. No, get out. Yeah, I was totally wrong. Get out, bro. Damn it, we tried. Yeah, we got totally sandwiched by this divine Serato. But this is exactly why we breed these dinos. So with checking my surroundings to make sure there's no other dinos that can absolutely smash us, I went back in to fight this excellent broodmother. Now, another mistake that I came by, I didn't bring any health potions. Or enough of them at least. I literally thought a tamed excellent boss should be able to defeat a wild excellent boss. Anyways, we came back to fight a different broodmother. I don't know exactly what happened to the last one. And we were able to put it down and gather the boss essence that we need. Day 48, I placed down an awesome teleporter out in the desert area. It's quite a ways away from our base, and this should make our trips a little bit quicker. And the other reason we were in the desert was to try and hunt down some more of these boss level dinos. Apparently the excellent Giga is considered a boss as well, so we could try and kill that. Yeah, this was a lot harder than I expected. There was 2 of us, 1 of them, and it destroyed us. That's when I returned back to base to rethink my strategy once again. I crafted up a bunch of potions to hope that they would keep us more alive when we're trying to fight these bosses, and then returned back to that broodmother that we fought earlier that absolutely wrecked us. We were able to defeat a broodmother before, maybe we can do it again. But there was one thing about this boss that I didn't know that we kind of avoided last time. Well, because it's a spider and deals poison, yes, it fell asleep. That's why we died. It's okay though, because we do have something that can combat that. These wake up potions. They're basically like a strong energy drink that should sponsor me in future videos. They keep my Dominus Rex focused and alert through battle. Well, that's only if I choose to use them at the right time. I'm very aware that that was a rookie error, and we won't make that mistake again. It did take a little bit longer than I had hoped, but we managed to defeat this excellent broodmother boss. But no, that wasn't the end of it. We actually need to farm a fair few of these excellent souls. And I do like fighting bosses in the desert, as we can kind of see all of our surroundings and avoid all the other things that want to fight us. Except reapers that can burrow under the ground and pop up at any point in time. Yeah, that's the thing. They're definitely a real pain in the butt, but we just ran away until it de-aggroed, then made our way back to the broodmother so we could continue this fight without the hassle of that reaper. Now, there is a way to make these fights particularly easier, but we need to earn that right first by defeating a few of these bosses and then fight one of the sin bosses. We were fighting this broodmother Listrix and it almost died, but our torpor was rising and I couldn't use the wake-up potion currently.
Wait. Bro, I can't use the wake-up potion right now?
It was still on cooldown for a little bit.
Oh my god, now you can use it.
And then we were able to use it and get back into this fight and finish the job.
Bro, it was one hit anyway.
Day 48, I crafted up the summoner for the Sin of Unreal. Now, these aren't in order, so I'm glad I looked up what exactly we're supposed to fight first. But before heading into this fight, I went and tamed myself a Descended Featherlight. Why did I do this? Well, because I think they help. You get a buff if you have a shoulder pet. And since we do die a lot and they're on our shoulder, they're probably going to die, so we tamed a few of them. So, of course, we could breed them all up together. Moving on forward, I crafted up this CS Replicator. It's small and petite, so it's not massive that takes up our entire base space. I like it a lot. And with said replicator, I crafted up this tech generator. We started gathering tons of element from beating the Unreal bosses and even the loot bosses. So it's definitely time to step up into the tech era. Again, since we have so many dinos out and about, they need to stay well fed. We had a normal trough that held a reasonable amount of food, but a tech trough is just going to be better all round. Not only does it feed dinos at a further away space, but it also holds a lot more food. We also collect a bunch of junk gear along the way, so a grinder is going to help us get, a few more extra resources whenever we need. Day 49, and we've been preparing for this moment for a little while. We're going to summon in another boss. It's time to challenge the Sin of Unreal. It's a manticore, so it does fly, and I don't like fighting flying bosses. It can be kind of difficult when you only have ground mounts, but we sent in our whole army of Indominus Rexes that we've been breeding for the last couple days. Now, you can't see much but a bunch of wiggling tails, but they seem to be doing some sort of damage. I had multiple waves here, so once they got damaged down a little bit further, I sent in our second wave. I realized I'm going to need a few more, so I got some more out of the soul balls that I had in my pocket, but these ones weren't leveled or anything. A lot of our dinos were dropping like flies, so I had to just keep sending in everything that I had. Then it got to the very final push where we had just a few dinos left, but it only had a slither of health left as well.
We're in there now. Final stretch, baby. Final stretch, baby. We did it. We did it. It's dead. We are the goats. We are goated. Let's go, team.
We had finally defeated the Sin of the Unreal. And this is where we unlocked a crucial item that will help us progress even further. The basic excellent boss armor. This significantly reduces the damage intake of any dino. But it's not cheap to make, especially for our Indominus Rex. We have a lot of the stuff already, but we still need a green combat tribute, an Indominus Rex essence, ancient token clusters, and boss orbs. Now, to get our hands on ancient token clusters, we need to fight these, the ancient dinos, and every single one of them at least once. But to be able to summon them in, we need artifacts. So we're going to farm these loot bosses for a little bit to try and obviously get our hands on a whole bunch of artifacts to stock up on so we can fight these ancient bosses. Once we had gathered a whole bunch of them, I would then move on to our next task of trying to kill an excellent Indominus Rex for its essence and also some boss orbs. Thing is, with our current Indominus Rex, this wasn't very easy at all. It was kicking our butt. Even in the water, we weren't really holding up very well. So we switched out our Indominus Rex for our Dinosuchus. Since it works so well for us to be able to tame it, I figured it would be the best option for us to be able to kill it too. And honestly, it is a good option. We used the same strategy as we did before when we were trying to tame it to get its health down, and we managed to kill it. Day 51, one of the ingredients that we're missing was the green tribute, which you can only get from defeating the Broodmother combat boss. Now, even though I have fought it and defeated it before, I'd used that tribute in something else. I just don't really remember what it was. So we're just gonna have to fight it again. This time around, our Theries are a little bit stronger since we had leveled them and been breeding them for such a while that they got a couple mutations. Yeah, this fight was pretty simple. And I'm pretty happy that we could get a flag again, since we'd lost the previous one from, losing our entire base.
Killed the gorilla, we killed the spider. We lost the last spider flag, obviously, but we got another one. We need to get the dragon, but we're not quite ready for the dragon Josh yet.
Anyways, it's time to start fighting these ancients. There's 9 of them to get through, so it's time to begin. Somebody had left all of their rock golems in the boss fighting arena. Unfortunately, they might just get in the way and, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but hey, it is what it is. Anyways, we begin by fighting the ancient raptor. This skeletal being I sent back to the afterlife. Straight after, we summon in the ancient Rex. Again, filled with some chaotic wiggling of the butts, we managed to defeat this Rex. Although it wasn't quite as simple as defeating the raptor, it did take out a bit of our army. But as you can see here, we need to collect 2 pieces of every single one of the ancient tokens to be able to get 1 single ancient token cluster. So on day 52, we continue this mission with the ancient stego, soon followed by the ancient triceratops, and then we summoned in the ancient wyvern. But because this is a flyer, it wasn't as simple as we had hoped. Our endoms aren't quite as agile as we need to be able to keep up with this flying wyvern. And the wyvern just kept laying hellfire down on all of our beasts. We managed to do a bit of damage, but it destroyed our entire army pretty quickly. I needed to come up with a different plan to be able to defeat the wyvern. Now that's when I had the idea to get my hands on an Unreal Megalodon. You see, Unreal Megalodons can fly outside of the water. Yes, it's a random ass ability, but hey, I think this could be a good thing for us to be able to defeat this wyvern or any type of flyer in the boss arena, maybe? Either way, they could be good for a few things. I went down to go and tame it under the water, but yeah, it one hit me. Day 53, and we're still trying to knock this thing out. It's obviously pretty hard, and I'm sure that there's easier ways to do this, but I prefer to do this my way. Anyways, we did manage to get this done and tamed our very first Unreal Megalodon. Again, I can't just have one, I need to have backups because things die a lot. So of course, I had to tame a second. Unreal dinos are very pesky to try and knock out, as a lot of my shots keep missing. Not my aim, they just miss. Anyways, we did manage to secure our second Megalodon. Now here's the thing, even though they can live outside of the water, they can't actually breed outside of the water. It does not work. So flying on the back of my big ass Megalodon, we flew down to the water below. And it's down here that we could breed up these Megalodons. I placed down an SCS terminal here so it could grab all of the babies that keep getting born and filled it up with some soul balls. Day 54, we returned back to the boss fighting arena, but this time not with our Megalodons. They were still currently breeding, but I brought over a bunch of dodo wyverns to see if they could do some damage. Did this work? No, not at all. So instead, we're just gonna move on and get some other ancients out of the way, and we'll figure out the wyvern situation eventually, I guess. But for now, we're gonna fight the ancient Giganotosaurus. It's a tough beast, but it is a land animal, and it cannot fly. Actually, it's a lot tougher than I expected. It wiped out most of my army already. I had a couple more endoms in my pocket, but they didn't really hold up very well at all. In the end, I got my dino out, and we just went face to face. This didn't really work either. I came over to the snow area on the back of my Megalodon, where I could shoot down from and try and knock out a Ute that might be able to buff our dinos when they're fighting. Trying to tame an Unreal Tyrannosaurus, yeah, it wasn't easy at all. They have a crazy amount of torpor that needs to be done, and of course they're an Unreal dino, so we miss a lot. But as I was trying to knock it out, I noticed that its health was rapidly declining. Yes, I do in fact think the Tyrannosaurus was currently drowning.
Why are you dying? Why did you just die? What the hell?
Day 55, we managed to find another one, and we got it into the water to do our good old water trick and let it get out of the water so maybe it will try and regain its oxygen and won't drown again. Then after quite a while, we managed to knock it out and then tame it. Now this was great and all, but there was a slight problem. You see, Unreal Uties, well, they don't actually have a courage roll. They have whatever the hell this is. Essentially, this Ute is kind of useless to us. So we decided to go on out and try and tame ourselves an excellent Tyrannosaurus. Being an excellent Ute, well, taming it was a little bit more simple. And I can confirm the courage roll does in fact work. But as we were doing all of those taming and everything, I saw some Dodorexes out in the world. And that's when I kind of thought to myself, maybe these would be the perfect tame to fight some bosses. And we should be at a tier now that we should be able to tame one, I think. Now, I knew this wasn't going to be easy, but once again, I did use the good old water trick. And used our Megalodon. Since it's an Unreal, I figured it would work just like our Deinosuchus did. It was not very effective at all. So we got our Deinosuchus back out. We're right next to the water anyway, so why not? Then we can begin the very painful process of trying to knock out this flame Dodorexy. After we get its health down, of course. This then continued on to the very next day. We were trying our best to just do as much damage as possible, but we were getting our butt kicked. I even had to get my good old Indominus Rex out, and even it was getting its butt kicked as well. But most importantly, we did manage to get its health down just enough so we can start knocking it out. So we're back on our Deinosuchus so it can take the hits while we try and knock it out, and began knocking it out. This process was pretty straightforward, and then this happened. The entire server just crashed. This sucks. And once we could finally log back in, the Flame Dodorex's torpor dropped all the way back down to 0. Oh, and guess what else? Yeah,
And
the thing drowned.
dead.
My luck could not get any worse right now. But I can't give up on this mission. I really need to get myself a Dodorexy. And in the very last place that we were earlier with the other Flame Dodorexy, there was another one. Unfortunately though, this particular one wasn't alone. There was a lightning Dodorexy right next to it. So we had to try and deal with 2 at the same time, and I have no idea how I'm supposed to do this. Honestly, at this very point in time, I can't take on 2 at a time. So we're just gonna have to find another one in a different location that's all by itself, which is actually turning out to be harder than I thought. We did manage to find one in the redwoods though. It was alone, kinda. I mean, these other dinos are there, but maybe we can just single out this single Dodorexy and get it to a place that we can actually try and tame it. So I ran up, bit it on the butt, and ran straight to the water, and it successfully followed me in with no friends in sight. Now my job is to get its health down low enough so I can start tranking it and knock it out. 350k health remaining. It's well below halfway. This should be enough for us to be able to attempt to tame it. I managed to get far enough away so I could switch out my Indominus Rex for my Deinosuchus, and then we can begin this taming process. Long and slow taming process. Look, it was a whole process. It was pretty damn repetitive, so we're just going to skip to the good part where we actually finally knock it out. I dismount, get my croc in the soul ball, and die to one of its frickin' minions. And just my luck, as we return to it, well, it was awake with no torpor damage done to it at all. This was very annoying. We were running dangerously low on tranks. And that's when I realized I don't actually have any more biotoxin jug bugs. Remember, they died earlier. So we went and tamed a couple more. I wanted to get a few so we could produce enough biotoxin to keep us going quickly. There's actually a few dinos that we probably need to tame that we lost earlier when we lost our base. Also, I did a thing. I kind of went against my own word. I was holding out doing this for the longest time, but I just need to make this more simple. Yeah, we added the upgrade station mod. I really need to upgrade our compound bow so we can knock these creatures out. Their torpor's so damn high. I just need some sort of leg up in this game. Of course, it's not that simple because compound bows are not cheap. We don't have enough polymer to really get it to a level that it's worthwhile using. So we came out to the snow to hit these eggs because they drop polymer. It's not a lot, but it should help. Day 58, we managed to get our compound bow to the ascended level, but that's not the end of it. We do want to get it a little bit higher than it currently is. 497% sounds good and all, but I want more. And to get more, well, I need to murder lovely little penguins. Not these ones. No, we're taming them so they can breed us up a whole bunch of them and we can murder their children. I need a way to be able to get my hands on some polymer, and this is the only way I can think I can get some easily and quickly. I'm also dangerously low on rare mushrooms as well, as it's a crucial resource for us to be able to make these metal trank arrows. Now, there is a way to passively get some, but I didn't know how to do that right now. We do figure it out later. Day 59, and we magically have a whole bunch of penguins ready to be slaughtered. And in all honesty, I wish they would die a little quieter. They're very loud, but when we harvested their bodies, well, we didn't get as much polymer as I kind of hoped. This was a lot of effort for a little bit of polymer. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a lot, but also this is a lot of penguins being sacrificed. Now, I know a wooden club typically gives us more polymer, so I grabbed one, upgraded it as much as possible, murdered a few more of these penguins, and started beating their corpses with this club. And I'm pretty sure I got less polymer this time. Either way though, we did get enough to be able to upgrade our compound bow, and that's kind of all that matters for now. Anyways, back to the main point of what we're trying to achieve. Trying to get our hands on a flame Dodorexy. Again, we found one all alone in the redwoods, dragged it out to the water, turned around and realized there was 2 flame Dodorexys following me. This was not good. Nah, I can't take on 2 at once, bro. Just trying to get one of their attention without dragging the other one over isn't really possible. Bro, I can't do 2 at a time. Dodorexys always seem to come in pairs, but that pair from earlier that chased us, well, there was only one there. We got lucky. Its friend died.
Your friend died. Yo, we can 1v1 now.
This was the perfect opportunity to get in here and fight. But also, since these massive flame chickens love to drown in the water, I wanted to get them on land so they can get their oxygen back at least. The water is still the most ideal place to fight Dodorexys as they are super fast on land. The water is just way more manageable. And once again, you guys know how this goes. As soon as its health is down low enough, we get our Dinosuchus out, head back into the water, and begin the taming process with our upgraded bow this time. And I'm glad we did upgrade it. It's doing a ton more torpor. It was still a better option for us to switch out though to the crossbow.
Why is no torpor getting done? Bro, what is happening?
Except there was a moment that we were fighting it and trying to knock it out that we weren't dealing any torpor again. Well, that's because its health had regenerated. Quite the annoying issue to have, but we had to go back in there, get its health back down again, and get it lower than it was before so it doesn't regenerate over that torpor limit. 169,000 health seems to be the sweet number for us to be able to try and knock this thing out. And look, yes, we finally knocked this thing out. Fed it a hungry potion and some excellent boss kibble. And then it was ours.
Oh my freaking god. Oh my freaking god.
Oh my god, we finally did it.
Oh my gosh.
But of course, we can't just settle for one single flame Dodorexy. We have to get 2. So on day 61, we returned to the other flame Dodorexy's best friend and began the taming process. Now, since we had failed this so many times, I feel like I'm quite the expert in taming flame Dodorexys. And you guys have seen this enough to know exactly how this goes. So yeah, we tamed this other one.
Yes, we did it. Don't worry about those stupid dodos. Dodo minion mother truckers. Don't worry about them.
We're getting out of here. We're good. We got a breeding pair.
Yes!
You guys have to be my ancient killers. You guys have to be the ancient killers. Please be the answer to my freaking pains. Now, of course, we can't go rushing in to fight any bosses just yet. We need these babies to breed. So for the time being, I get on my Megalodon and hunt down some penguins to try and get some polymer. We even head into the ocean to have some fun, even by killing this Tuso and gaining some more resources. Like, we might as well just keep ourselves busy, kill things, it's fun. But then I remembered we don't have an excellent dodo to be able to create excellent essence. This is the perfect opportunity to kill some time and, well, get ourselves an excellent essence dodo. With our Unreal Dino, we managed to kill the boss, and then we could tame this orangey brown excellent dodo. It's now day 62, and we finally have a couple baby Dodorexys. Now, I made them some basic excellent boss armor, so they get a little bit more defense when we fight. And then we returned to the boss fighting arena, got out a whole army of Indoms, and just a few of the flame Dodorexys that we had. And then we summoned in the ancient Brontosaurus. This bony yellow long neck creature, well, it was deleted from the world forever. Then next we summoned in the ancient Kano and defeated that also.
Too easy, so cheesy. Get out of here, son.
Day 63, we go and check to see what else we need to be able to get one of these ancient token clusters. And we're just missing 3 dinos, but like the hardest ones to kill. I also want to introduce you to a girl that I had named earlier. Her name is Hilda. This is our favorite Indominus Rex. Now, out of fear of losing her, I actually never wanted to take her to any of these big boss fights. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, because she is actually pretty strong. But anyways, without Hilda, we return to the boss fighting arena to summon in the next ancient dino. Yeah, we're attempting the ancient wyvern once again. This time with a much bigger army to try and hopefully kill it quickly before it flies away.
I can't see nothing. I'm just spamming C and hoping that's helping. Yeah, get him, get him. Oh, we're actually doing pretty decent. We're doing decent, lads. Come on, lad. Yeah, I think we got this. Oh my god. Who needs frames these days? You don't. We did it. Frickin' W's all around, chat.
After defeating the wyvern, we then moved on to the very next flyer, the ancient Quetz.
Go, 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 go.
Which admittedly was actually a lot easier than the wyvern. Finally, we fought the ancient Giga. This one I was a little bit worried about, because as we know, Gigas are quite strong.
Guys, he's dead. He's dead. We can all chill out now.
We have now gathered everything we need to craft up our very own ancient cluster. So of course we came straight back to base, put everything we needed into the workbench, and crafted up a token cluster. We could actually make a couple of them because we gathered quite a lot of resources. And with that, we could finally make the excellent Indominus Rex shield.
All right, you got 50 armor now with the basic armor. We'll take that off. You got down to 25. But then when we put the Indom armor on, 125.
Now, only adding 100 armor points doesn't actually sound like a lot, but I do think there's some hidden abilities that we can't see because, man, we can fight a lot of creatures now with a lot more ease. Sure, we don't do much more damage, but they don't really do any damage to us. Like, before having the armor, we definitely would never have been able to defeat this excellent rock elemental like this. But dude did not stand a chance, and we only got a little bit banged up.
Day 64, I wanted to see if I could take down some of these Dodo Rexes. Now, I didn't want to do this alone because I actually wanted to have a chance at actually defeating them. And let's be fair, they're not alone either. There's 3 of the bastards. So I sent in a small army, but I stayed on my Hilda that had its armor on it. I would then eventually go in to help out. As you can see, a lot of my Rexes were slowly dying. This was significantly harder than I had expected. I mean, some of the boss fights were easier than this, but I had health potions and really good armor, so eventually, these Dodo Rexes died. Anyways, moving on, it's now time to fight one of these big bosses that we need to defeat. We are summoning in the very next Sin boss, the Sin of Power. With a full army of Dodo Rexes and normal Indominus Rexes, we could now challenge this Dodo Rex boss. I wasn't going into this very confident, and I was very scared. My whole army was obliterated within seconds. I didn't really think this was gonna happen like this. Then it was just me all alone to fight this boss. With it having over 320 million health, I had no idea how I was supposed to do this. As we were biting down on it, we got stuck inside it and eventually died. Unfortunately, our favorite dino just died, so we had to give her our second-hand gravestone. This was the Sanity gravestone, but now it's a Hilda gravestone. Rest in peace, Hilda. Anyway, she's one of many, many deaths to come, so, we're back at it. I need to figure out how I'm supposed to defeat this Sin of Power. I've progressed as far as I could. I don't know what else I could possibly do, so I'm just going to keep throwing out dinos until it's dead. Of course, this ends in lots of deaths for me. Yeah, that's not fun. Sometimes I don't even get the opportunity to get my army out because the Sin of Power has little minions that likes to kill me also. These little dodos can never join the Dodo gang. Screw them. The army strategy isn't really working in our favor at all. I mean, we are doing damage to it, and thankfully it doesn't regain health too quickly, but it seems like the best strategy is just to face it head on, I guess. It's not a fast runner, so we can bite it a couple times, escape, heal up ourselves, and then get back into the fight. That's all I can kind of really think to do to be able to try and defeat the Sin of Power. This fight is lasting such a long time that yes, it's already the very next day, but it only has 48 million health remaining, and we're getting very close to defeating it. Now, my strategy usually works unless I get stuck inside it and I can't run away. Then I die. It's a stupid bug, but it is what it is, I guess. Like, my running away strategy always tends to work unless we're stuck, and it's really damn frustrating. And yes, this happened a couple times that we're still going. Day 66 and the Sin of Power only has 53 million health left. It feels like we're almost there, but it's not quite that simple. After that last death, well, we've run out of health potions. Now, hopefully the boss doesn't heal up too much because we don't even have enough resources, specifically prime meat, to be able to make more health potions. So we're back in the ocean, just because there's some easy prime fish meat that we can get. I then considered coming over to the Wyvern Trench because then I remembered, yes, wyverns do drop prime meat. I wanted to grind up to make sure that we had enough potions to be able to defeat this boss and not have to worry about it for a while. When I returned back to the boss on day 67, we noticed that the boss had healed up. Thankfully, it wasn't the entire way, but we did waste a lot of time, so we need to get stuck into this now. This boss fight is definitely doable with a lot of patience and a little bit of skill, unless you get stuck in this bug. Getting stuck inside this boss and not being able to escape, well, kind of ruins the fun. Yep, and that'll be it. GG's. We had managed to build a ton of backups though, so we're just gonna have to keep chipping away at its health. I don't exactly know why, but this ended up taking us way longer than I thought it was going to. But as long as we just kept chipping away at it and not getting stuck inside it so we can escape and heal up, we eventually were able to defeat it. We did it, 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 we did it. Look how much health we got left. Look at how much health we got left. That's stupid little dodos, go away. Of course, we still had to deal with these stupid little minions though. They weren't too much of a trouble, but they were just kind of annoying. Defeating this boss, we gained a ton of juicy loot, but also could unlock a few more engrams. Mainly just some boss summoning things. But the whole reason we defeated that boss was so we could make this. The enhanced excellent boss cube. And if we feed this to our excellent Indominus Rex boss, it makes it an unreal dino as well as an excellent dino. So with that being said, I went ahead and named this dino Herbert Unreal. It's just so I can remember that it's an unreal dino. Day 68, and I wanted to start the process of something new. I wanted to create my very own Ancient Evo Origin. This is a dino that you can summon in and evolve it into different types. Now, this is extremely important for a little bit later on, but it is a kind of grind to be able to get all the resources together so that we can eventually evolve it, but it is also very important. Next, I went ahead and got myself another descended otter. I had to name it. This one is called Geraldine II, because, yeah, our last one died. And obviously, the reason why we needed this otter was to get some more artifacts. We wanted to restock on them since we're going to be doing a lot of boss fighting coming up. And thankfully, we could destroy a lot of these loot bosses quite simply and quite easily with our much stronger army than we've ever had. And some of those resources gave us the ability to be able to evolve our Evoraptor into the Evocano. Glorious. Now, I could use this for whatever I needed, but it's not really useful to us right now. But something that is useful for our progression is defeating the dragon boss. Which, in all honesty, I thought was going to be rather simple. Since we had defeated the Sin of Power, surely this couldn't be hard at all, right? Yo! Okay, I expected this to be a lot easier than it was. I bit off way too more than I can chew. Holy crap. This is the one most important lesson that you learn about the Descended mod. If you go into any boss fight unprepared, you'll feel it and you'll know it, and it sucks. The only option I really had was just to keep throwing out dinos that I had in my pockets. And we did manage to get its health down quite a bit, but we were starting to run out of dinos. Like, yes, they would damage them, but they didn't last very long at all. It's the day of the funny number, and I'm coming up with a different strategy to finally finish off this dragon boss. I remembered I still had that excellent Yudi, and maybe with the help of its courage roar, it could help defeat this boss. I would send in my entire army, make sure to buff them up so they could be extra strong, and watch them get stuck in a corner and absolutely obliterated. It's okay though, because this strategy was actually working. I'm sure there was a much better way to do this, and I'm very open to hearing your thoughts in the comments, but for now, we're chipping away at this boss's health all the way up until the time that we finally defeated the dragon boss. Did it. We did it. Defeating this boss gave us a bunch of resources, but most importantly, the red combat tribute, which we're definitely going to need in the future. Like right now, we need it so we can get excellent flame armor for our Dodorexy. But we were missing one ingredient. Excellent Flame Essence, which requires us to, yes, kill Flame Dodorexes. Now, since our homie Herbert has the special armor, we can manage to defeat these Dodorexes, even if we get absolutely gangbanged by 3 bosses at once. We did accidentally annoy this Alpha Dodorexy, which we surely will not beat. They are a lot stronger than their flame counterparts. I had to get my butt out of there, but then get my butt straight back in there so we can fight these bosses. Once we had finally defeated these bosses and collected enough essence, I could then craft the excellent flame armor, which basically turns our flame Dodorexy into a powerhouse, just like our Indominus Rex. Now, this is a bit of a side quest that I'm on, but Aaron Longstaff just released a new skin as I was recording this video. And I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to go and support my bro and then go and make this skin on my new base in my new video. And we've done a little bit to our base. It's only just the foundations, but it does make our floor look pretty damn sweet, not gonna lie. This also inspired me to finish off this base and make it into something that looks really damn cool. But trying to find the time to do it's going to be really hard in this 100 days challenge. I couldn't afford to waste too much time on our base because we need to progress through this mod and get things done. I'm back in the desert biome hunting down some bosses to kill them for their essences. This time with the power of our Dodorexy, which does make a huge difference. This is the next tier that we need to enter, but by the looks of it, I don't think we're quite prepared to defeat this thing just yet. We're missing one more crucial item before we can actually fight any of the divine or even the devilish creatures. And to make said item, well, we need to grind up some more ancient tokens. This is a kind of painful process, but later on we do have a way to be able to get ancient tokens with ease, and we don't have to fight any of these ancient bosses anymore. Anyways, I'm trying to make this enhanced excellent boss cube. We already have one for our Indominus Rex, but I want one for my Dodorexy. So I had to farm up some more of these essences. I didn't need too many because we had collected some earlier, and then we could craft up the enhanced excellent boss cube. Then I could feed it to my favorite Dodorexy, who I named Callum the Lord of the Flames. And now he is powered up with Unreal Defense. So the very next day, we went out to go test out his defense capabilities against some other Dodorexys. And yeah, we noticed a massive difference immediately. Like, I didn't really have to do much to defeat these guys at all. Even this Indominus Rex didn't really stand a chance. But now that we've got a good grip on our fighting capabilities, well, it's time to move on and fight the next boss. The very last Sin boss. This one here is called the Sin of Element. And defeating this means we can enter the very next tier of dinos. I hope we can actually win this one though. So we begin by summoning in this Dodo Wyvern boss. And it is fast and fastly destroying my dinos. I honestly hate fighting flying dinos. It's just a whole different ball game. But it does create a challenge, which I suppose is the whole point of fighting bosses. Eventually, it comes to a point that all of my army had died. And so far, we had only done 40 million points of damage. Oh, its little minions hurt. As we fight this boss, we need to escape occasionally to try and get our health back. I would then run away, gather myself, and start biting again. What I've learned about this mod is that every single boss has a different mechanic that you need to kind of figure out in order to defeat it. We have a rough idea now, but we're just going to teleport back to base so we can restock and come back. I needed to make these stimulant potions as we kept running out of stamina quickly. I also wanted to upgrade our saddle for our Indominus Rex for when we need it. But for now, we're just going to rely on using our army to try and chip away at its health. It's kind of worked for us in the past, and maybe it'll work now. I don't know. A lot of our dinos do die within seconds, but we do a little bit of damage, so we're working towards it, I guess. I don't know. This is really hard. Like, we are struggling to do any bits of damage. But let's think positively. At least we are doing damage. It's now day 72, and we've done a little bit of damage. Well, actually, it's quite a bit. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. But it is taking us a long damn time. Just imagine, you guys are seeing this edit, but each day is 30 minutes in real life. And we've been going at this fight for almost an hour. We did notice though that if we get stuck on the side here, we could just chew on its neck, and that's the most effective way to do some damage. Flyers don't like walls, but land creatures definitely do. And once we had finally figured out the right strategy to defeat this boss, we did it. We defeated the Sin of Element. That boss fight was way more stressful than it had to be, but we did get a ton of really good loot, including the Element Sphere, which is one of the ingredients that I need for this, the Ghost Dodorexy Evolution Core. Now, the only remaining resources that we need for this aren't actually too hard to get, so we're out here grinding away for said resources. Starting with killing some poison Dodorexys for their poison essence. We do in fact need to kill a whole bunch of them. We also need some flame and lightning essence as well, so yes, we're fighting them also. Look, I'm not going to bore you with all the same repetitive fights, but yeah, we had to fight lots of things, which also included more ancients. We need more tokens. But let's fast forward to the fun part. We had made the evolution core, fed it to our Callum, the Lord of Flames, and watched the magic begin. And just like that, we have now gained our very own Ghost Dodorexy. Things are starting to look up in this world after losing our entire base and a lot of our stuff to now owning a Ghost Dodorexy. Now, I was expecting its stats to be a lot better, but well, its health stats actually less than what Callum's was. I assume there's other hidden bonuses that we just don't know about. But here it is in all its glory, if you can see it. Sometimes you need to squint your eyes. Now, of course, we had to name it, and since it's a Ghost Dodorexy, well, its name is John Cena. If you know, you know. Now, you might be wondering what makes a Ghost Dodorexy so damn special. Well, it does love to explode things. Like your average Dodorexy, well, it melts in seconds. Oh, shit, we're melting this guy. So we go out on a mass murder spree, murdering things faster than Germans back in 1942. Day 74, we went to go take on our very first devilish Megalosaurus. We need to kill these so that we can eventually tame them, as they drop some special items for us. And our Ghost Dodorexy does the job just fine. I would like to get myself a devilish creature as soon as possible, so we can move up and progress through the mod, obviously. But I'm having the best time on John Cena here. We came back to the boss fighting arena to summon in some ancients, and I brought an army with me. Turns out I didn't really need the army. My Dodorexy held up on its own. Now, to increase our chances of survival, I wanted to see what armor we could add to our Ghost Dodorexy. Now, none of the elemental armors worked, but the basic excellent boss armor did work, and I'll take it. I then took a little bit of break from all the chaos and started working on my base once again. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to turn this into somewhat of a good looking base. Make the most out of Aaron Longstaff's new skins. This continued on to day 75, but I soon realized this task of building this base is quite a hefty one, and it's going to take us quite a while, but I want to get it done. I just need to move on and progressing through this mod. There's a lot to it. The next thing we need to do is summon in the Oracle boss, but it turns out we need a power sphere. I'd kind of used two of them, creating my better dinos armor, the Unreal ones. So I had to return to the boss fighting arena, and yes, summon in the Sin of Power again. I was hoping and praying that our John Cena Dodorexy would last in this fight a lot better than our previous Dodorexys. Also, I was terrified that I might lose our John Cena, especially from that bug that happens when you get stuck inside it. We can't afford to lose this, as it was a grind to get in the first place. All right, we're not getting stuck, so that's a good sign. And we are doing quite a bit of damage. We can heal up. We should be fine with just John Cena here. As long as we manage to keep our distance and not get stuck inside it, we should be okay. We could tank quite a few hits, which gave us an opportunity to do damage and not die ourselves. And with a bit of patience and persistence, we were able to defeat the Sin of Power. I won't say it was easy, but it wasn't as hard as it was before. This then gave us everything we need to be able to summon in the Oracle boss. But in good old-fashioned descended fashion, it's not as simple as just summoning this boss in. Use this item in your dino's inventory, then kill wild creatures to draw the attention of the Oracle. When sufficiently angered, it will appear. The buff icon will show the progress. With that being said, we came straight over to the desert biome and began the process of killing dinos to get the attention of this Oracle boss. You do need to kill a whole bunch of creatures just to be able to get its attention, but I do think the higher tier dino that you do kill gets the attention a little bit quicker. But after destroying these Endoms and Gigas, we now have the Oracle. The Oracle is descending. That's the Oracle? 4.4 billion? Yeah, its health is kind of outrageous. This might be a little bit harder than I thought. Either way, it's time to try and fight this and defeat it. No idea how I'm going to do it. It being a rock elemental is kind of in our favor since it's somewhat slow. Surprisingly, it doesn't do a ton of damage to us when it hits us, but I still want to avoid getting hit. Even more surprisingly, we actually do a lot of damage to it. This mod is kind of strange in how damage works against some creatures and not, I don't know, it's kind of odd. Either way, we did learn that it does hit hard when it throws rocks. And then we ran into a slight bug. Yeah, the Oracle boss kind of just fell into the map. And look, full transparency, I wasn't going to grind everything up to get the summoner back, so yes, I cheated. I used my admin commands to get the Oracle summoner again. This was an ARK bug. This was not a my fault thing. This was not a skill issue. It's an ARK bug. All right, let's do that again. Take 2. Now we need to repeat the process of killing a bunch of creatures to get the attention once again. This part's pretty simple and straightforward, just a little bit of a grind, but after a little bit of killing, the Oracle boss had returned. It just has 5.8 billion health, which is a lot more than the previous one. Now, the Oracle boss isn't as simple fight as most other bosses. It may be slow, and we need to avoid this big rock-throwing thing, but also, once it summons in its minions, it becomes invulnerable. And we need to kill all of the minions before we can attack it again and do damage. Over a good amount of time, we could get this done, but we just had to remain patient and stay focused. 1.9 billion health remaining, and we're still fighting it the very next day. 1 billion health remaining, we're almost getting it done. It's time to lock in and finish off this descended Oracle boss. As a last-ditch effort, it summoned in its minions, but I knew as soon as these minions were gone, it was our time to strike. 165 million health remaining. All right, now it's my time. You're so dead now. Yes, yes. GG's, mother trucker. Dead. Dead, stupid Oracle. We had now defeated the Oracle boss, but then as I did, I looked up and this was happening. I think Coco just got wrecked by this manticore. Don't worry, I'll avenge you, my friend. Anyways, here's all the loot that we gained from killing the Oracle boss. Some artifacts, a ton of essences, but most importantly, the Oracle essence, which is an important resource for us to be able to craft up this next item. All right, we've officially unlocked the divine and the devilish kibble. It's a little bit super damn expensive, but luckily we kind of have most of the stuff. Well, technically I think we have all of it. Yeah, we can do this now. But before we do this, we want to evolve this Evo Carno, which evolves into the Evo Theory. We have an ancient Evo Theory. Now, the Theories are actually goated. They're great harvesters. Now, since we got this ancient Evo Theory and it's a bit of a grind to be able to get multiple of them, I wanted to see if I could clone it in the cloning chamber. And it looks like we can. We just need a whole bunch of element shards. Luckily, on this map, we can get our hands on a whole bunch of them without any issues. We just have to mine these pillar things in the volcano area on top of the skull. If you don't know what that means, well, come on the map and you'll see the skull. After gathering a whole bunch of element shards and placing them in the cloning chamber, we could then begin the process of cloning this Theory. Whilst waiting for our Theory to clone up, I went ahead and crafted up one of these items that would summon in another creature. This was the infected descended dimorphodon. It's like a flying version of like the ancient creatures, but we'll try and get through them. I don't know what we'll do with it. They're not super important, but they're fun. Now that we're at the devilish level, I wanted to go and tame myself a devilish phoenix. Now, these flyers are passive tames, so taming them should be rather simple, and they're a great entry into the devilish tier of dinos. Now, they're much like the descended phoenix, but obviously a lot more stronger. Ooh-wee. But before going crazy and trying to go murder everything, I wanted to breed them up first, which means I'm gonna need another one. Oh, and our Therazinos were completed. We now have 2. Now, they might both be females because they are cloned, but one of them opted for elective surgery to change its gender. And now we have a breeding pair. Now we're breeding ancient Evo Theories.
Day 78, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to go kill some things on my new devilish phoenix. Plus, I think I needed to kill some more dinos so I can get some more devilish kibble so I could tame another devilish creature. It was kind of tricky at first to figure out how I can actually aim and shoot and kill some of these dinos, like this devilish dino right here. But as long as we were consistent and kind of just got the right angle, we could get it done. Psych, this happened. Oh shit. Yeah, so our devilish phoenix wasn't really holding up. And John Cena's just significantly better at this very point in time. We went out and we killed this divine thorny dragon without any issues, and then continued hunting down anything we knew we could kill. We did manage to return back to base with some divine and devilish essences, so we could make some more kibbles. So once again, we went out and tamed this devilish phoenix. It might not be as strong as John Cena, but it's still a really strong flying dino that we can use. This time we made sure to get a mate for it immediately, so we can avoid any kind of chaotic instances like last time.
Do you love birds? Get it? Because you're both technically birds, like phoenixes. You love birds? Yeah.
I then started working on our base. Once again, we're going to continue doing this when we need to wait in between intervals of mating or whatever we need to do. Day 79, and we now have ourselves a baby devilish phoenix. Now, I fully forgot about this one mechanic, but if you hold down spacebar, these devilish phoenixes can fly extremely fast. I also wanted to test out to see whether an imprinted devilish phoenix was quite strong or not. And it kind of is, except it's kind of janky and a little bit hard to control when you're trying to shoot. Like, we did destroy this poison dodo rexy, but it just could have been easier on John Cena. But really, I think it's time we tame a devilish killer. Something we know it will absolutely murk anything. Something like this devilish Rex. Now you might be wondering, how am I tranking it so quick? Well, now I have a descended fabricated sniper that we got from a drop earlier. I forget exactly where it was. I think it was from killing one of the bosses or something.
Yeah, I didn't know what I expected just then.
And yes, that death was definitely inevitable. So once we returned back to this devilish Rex, I wanted to play my cards a little bit safer. I went on top of this rock that reminds me of the Lion King.
Proper American sniper right here.
And from this angle, we should be able to shoot down safely.
That was the wrong one, wasn't it?
Now, surely because I'm up nice and high and quite a distance away, I'm safe, right? Well, I would be if I wasn't an idiot. It's okay though, because we have unlimited lives, so we can just attempt this again. The sneaky little Rex ended up going underneath the rock, so I had to use some ingenuity and grapple my way down to try and get the right angle to shoot down on him. And this was quite effective until this happened.
They've walked up it, haven't
They
they?
did! Holy crap. I returned back to Pride Rock and repeated this strategy. And ultimately, this strategy worked just fine.
Thank you. Boom, baby.
Now the question is, can we clone this devilish Rex? We indeed can clone this Rex. So let the cloning begin. Day 80, we got ourselves a second devilish Rex, changed its gender, and began the mating process. And it feels a little late in this playthrough, but I finally put down some bunk beds because we kept dying so often that we had cooldowns. It wasn't fun. And by the end of the day, we had a very own baby Rex. Placed a devilish saddle on it and tested out its might against the wilds.
Ooh, but that hurt. Okay, what's right click do? Oh, right click launches him into the sky. Alpha Rex, easy levels. Oh, no.
Yoink! Yeet! See you later, bro. Day 81, we had a lot of fun in the desert on the back of our devilish Rex. Really just learning how their mechanics work and what kind of abilities they have, all those kind of things. But my next mission, I needed to go and kill some divine creatures. I wanted to gather some of their essence so I could eventually make some of their kibble so I could again tame some. I discovered that the thorny dragons were the easiest creatures to kill in the divine tier, but they did have a ranged attack that would, do some damage to me. Day 82, and we're on the ancient token cluster grind again. Our tiny little devilish Rex army makes light work of all these guys, so we could easily stock up on these tokens as we needed to. Our base was getting quite full from all of the breeding, so I had to put all these puppies away. I think we have enough. Day 83, and we're preparing to fight the very next boss. We're summoning in the Descended Divine Guardian. Now, I'm just riding on my devilish phoenix just so I could watch from the top down and let my army do all the work. Kind of like politicians we know, And it went just as well as I kind of thought it would. Yeah, my whole army got wiped out hard.
I had a feeling that was going to be the case. You need divine creatures to defeat divine guardians. Lesson learned. So yeah, we're out here trying to tame ourselves a divine thorny dragon. Let's get ourselves a divine army before trying to take on these bosses. Once again, we're getting punished for trying to skip ahead in the Descended mod. Oh, and yeah, trying to tame a dino naked. I expect to die a lot, but it seems to be working. We're doing some torpor damage, so it is what it is. I'm sure there's a better way to tame this guy, but I don't care. This is working. This new fabricated rifle really works. It's great. Now that we've tamed a divine thorny dragon, it's time to bring it back to clone it. And whilst we wait for the cloning to begin and then all the breeding to begin, I went out to go kill some more divine creatures so I can get some more essence. At this part of the mod progression, we do need a lot of divine and devilish essence to be able to do anything further on. Day 84 and the cloning was complete, but now we need to start the breeding process. Now whilst we wait for the breeding to happen, we got our ancient Therizino out, put a saddle on it, and put it to work. This thing really knows how to harvest almost anything. Within a matter of moments, we have a ton of berries. I then wanted to go and tame a divine griffin. Why? Well, because I can, and I have really nothing else to do right now. Surprisingly, a little bit easier to tame since I'm on the back of one of my divine thorny dragons and using it to tank all the damage. Having a tank like this thorny dragon seemed to work. Well, up until the point that the divine griffin wanted to run away. I ended up chasing it down on my devilish phoenix, and the torpor was still rising up until the point that it finally fell to the ground. Please, yes, best landing spot ever. And obviously, because we're too lazy to tame again, we went back to clone it. It's just easier this way. A little bit cheaty, I guess, but stuff it. Ever get times in games where you're a little bit bored and you just kind of do silly things like this? I decided to cosplay the dude from Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or whoever he's from, I don't remember. Day 85 and we're back in our favorite destination in the hunt for progression. We've been breeding like crazy behind the scenes and we're prepared to fight the very next boss. As you can see, we have a bunch of devilish Rexes, so no, we're not fighting the Divine Guardian. We are indeed fighting the Devilish Rex Guardian. And all of those Jurassic Park noises was indeed all of my Rexes going into battle. I was kind of surprised to see them all die so quickly though. And when I got out more of my army, well, this went ahead and happened. Whoa! After dying, I was really concerned that I was going to return to a full health boss. Instead, he was just smoking a cigarette in the corner, blowing out flames, and not full health. I decided to just go in 1v1. It's a little slow, but it can be effective if we can just keep our movements good. And someone that likes to socially distance himself from people, I could just push him away like this. We basically just kept repeating this process of trying to do some damage, escaping, healing up, you know, kind of what we've done previously. At one point, I did want to try and change my strategy up just a little bit and get out a few of our dinos that were in my pocket and then use my Devilish Phoenix to kind of just rain hellfire down on top of it. Although I wasn't dying on my Devilish Rex, it was just a very slow and grindy process. Look, this little idea that I had didn't really work out to plan at all, so we had to switch it up again. We got the Rex back out and just repeated what we were doing earlier. Bite it on the butt. Run away, heal up, push it away to make sure that we remain socially distanced from each other. And then technically, it wasn't until day 86 that we finally defeated this boss. Yeah, we're good. We're good. This is it. Oh my god. Very stressful indeed, but we did get some pretty sweet items from this dude, which includes new armor. This armor has unlimited durability and cannot break. I love it. Now before leaving, one of the homies, Polydina, was setting up for a boss fight of his own. Since we're on a server, we do need to share this boss fighting arena. I stood around and watched for a little bit, and his little army was doing quite well. But I needed to return back to base to get out all of my Divine Thorny Dragons, level them up, and then heal them up to prepare them for the next boss fight. But before entering into a boss fight, I wanted to do something that's going to change our game forever. Something that I've never done in any one of my playthroughs. This is Flurry. He's one of my Discord moderators, one of my Twitch moderators. Anyways, I'm inviting him to my tribe. Now this man right here doesn't know it yet, but he's going to become my slave. Basically, I need him to finish off my base while I go and do some fun stuff. He's actually quite good at building, so I figured he's probably a good person to do this. He'll also help me out with some boss fights coming up. But for now, we return back to the boss fighting arena to start setting up, only to see a massive ice titan. Coco was out here doing one of the descended supply drops. If you're familiar with the extinction map, the supply drops work very similar to OSDs. They summon in waves of dinos that you need to defeat, and once you finally defeat all the waves, you get a ton of good loot. And because we're in the vicinity community and in the alliance with Coco, we're actually getting some of that loot too. I wasn't about to get in the way, and I was definitely taking some free loot. Day 87 and the boss fighting arena was free, so it's now time for us to summon in and fight the Divine Guardian. We used our army of Divine Thorny Dragons to fight against this Spino, and they lasted about 15 seconds. These boss fights are rough. I had almost died that time, but I escaped. And then I turned around and noticed something. The boss fully healed itself. This guy's really hard to defeat, and I have no idea how to defeat it properly. So in desperation, I reached out to the guys on the server and asked for their help. I'm helping Polydina defeat this Devilish Rex first and get a couple of free souls from it, and then Polydina will help me defeat the Divine Guardian, which for the most part was working quite well until his dino died. And we got its health down quite a bit just facing it with our Rex. But then I found out that this Divine Spino has a special ability that absolutely melts us. Oh my gosh. What the frick? Thankfully, Polydina was able to sustain some more damage towards this Spino, so it couldn't heal up. Then I could return and get back into this fight. I had tons of health potions on me, and just made sure to avoid that big attack that whatever happened to us before. And this was so damn effective that we were able to defeat the Descended Divine Guardian. Day 88, and we need to get ourselves a little dodo. Now, the only way to get ourselves a little dodo is by killing an Alpha Dodo Rexy. That is why we are fighting this particular one right here. Thanks to our Devilish Rex's supreme power, fighting and defeating this Alpha Dodo Rexy wasn't too much of a problem. Now, what happens after you defeat one of these Alpha Dodo Rexys is they have a chance to drop an egg, like this particular one right here. This little Dodo Rex egg, well, it hatches a little dodo quite quickly as well. And you might be wondering, why is this little dodo so damn important? Not only does it make me look pretty damn awesome, but it also produces legendary essence, which we need to get so we can then eventually make ourselves a legendary Dodo Rex. And the only way to get a legendary Dodo Rex is, well, we need to tame an Alpha Dodo Rex first, which we do so by flying on the back of our Griffin and shooting down at one of these Alpha Dodo Rexys. And to tame it, we just use this devilish essence, boom baby, that we got from defeating the devilish boss. Now this Alpha Dodo Rex is an absolute powerhouse. One damn explosion like that does a ton of tick damage. Unfortunately, you can't clone the Alpha Dodo Rex, so we're back out in the wilds trying to tame ourselves a mate, and our fabricated sniper rifle helped us get it done. Now we have 2 Alpha Dodo Rexys to start the breeding process. We need to keep ourselves a little bit busy. So with that being said, I went ahead and evolved our little Dimorphodon into this infected Unreal Pteranodon. But we could evolve it one step further into the infected Divine Argentavis. This thing's a pretty damn sweet flyer. It has a ton of different abilities than the normal Argentavis. But in all honesty, it's not super strong. It's still a good flyer and a great thing to have to get around the map because it can be quite tanky too. And after all, we're only here for our Alpha Dodo Rexy, which we already have a baby fully grown up, and I had a bunch of large XP potions that we got from boss fights so we could level it up completely. I then went ahead and named this Alpha Dodo Rexy Alfie because it's an alpha. Get it? And we are now at a level that absolutely obliterates its enemies. But also, to be able to get ourselves a legendary Dodo Rex, we have to go out on this Alpha Dodo Rex and kill a whole bunch of other Dodo Rexes. When you see this legendary progression bar, that is us progressing towards obviously becoming a legendary Dodo Rex. And I went to go help out Polydina in his Guardian fight. Now, unfortunately though, this kind of cost me big time. Yeah, me and my Dodo Rexy died. Polydina also died, so when we returned, we had to start this fight over all again. Only this time, I brought my Devilish Rex, and I know how to fight this thing with my Devilish Rex. I wasn't too upset about losing our Alpha Dodo Rexy. We can replace it since they're breeding. It did, though, kind of suck that we had all that progression, but it wasn't too much work. You know, we could do it all again. Strangely, we both kind of struggled with this fight, so we went back to the drawing board, and then I would return in a second. A second had now passed, and we're back. Polydina had set up some tech gates to trap in this Guardian, and we could just sit back and use our ranged attack from my Divine Thorny Dragon to do all the damage. Some people might call this cheesy, I call it smart. Like I always say, work smarter, not harder. This strategy works like a charm. Day 91, we got a brand new Alpha Dodo Rexy out and started hunting down Dodo Rexys. Yes, we are trying to get our hands on a legendary Dodo Rexy. And after a long grind of killing these Dodo Rexys, we managed to get a legendary Alpha Dodo Rexy. So we went ahead and named it Alfie the Legend. Day 92, and we're tackling a new challenge. I need to go and kill this Abyssal Dodo Rexy.
This is the very next and the highest tier of wild dinos that you can fight. And I'm kind of nervous because they're pretty strong and pretty fast and pretty scary. And I'm just hoping my powered up Devilish Rex can take this on.
Are we stuck? We're stuck.
This Abyssal Dodorexy is definitely showing that it's a lot more tougher than any of the alphas, but since we had some health potions in our hotbar and a bunch of them, we were able to withstand a lot of the hits, slowly chip away at its health, and finally defeat it. Now, I need to farm a whole bunch of these Abyssal Essences if I want to eventually get myself an Abyssal creature. Now, the opposite but the same tier of dino is the Celestial creatures, which is why we're fighting this Celestial Megatherium. This big blue King Kong creature is a little bit more tankier than the Dodorexy, but again, with some patience, potions, and persistence, we were able to defeat this monkey. Anyways, now that I'm quite confident that I can beat these guys, I continued fighting more of them, collecting more essence. Day 93, we're on our Divine Thorny Dragon for one reason and one reason only. Might seem a little strange and a little bit backwards, but we need to tame this excellent rock elemental. I thought that maybe I could deal torpor only with my fabricated sniper, but it turns out I still need my metal compound bow. My fabricated sniper really wasn't doing the job right. So we'd return back to our base, crafted up some metal trank arrows, and returned back to the rock elemental to put it to sleep. Now that we have the metal compound bow, we were able to do a ton more torpor at a time. And thanks to our Divine Thorny Dragon tanking all of the damage, we didn't really have to worry about dying too often. And just like that, we were able to get our hands on an excellent rock elemental. Now the next step of our mission, well, we need to fight a Celestial rock elemental boss. This one right here is significantly tougher to beat than the excellent rock elemental.
Okay, we're handling it. We're not getting super melted. I mean, we kind of are. Damn. It's gonna be tough.
We were at quite the stalemate. It wasn't doing too much damage to me, but I certainly wasn't doing any damage to it. But it's so damn important that I actually defeat this creature so I can move on and progress. Some of the other guys on the server were also here, but they were just watching. They weren't even bothering to help me. They could see that I was struggling.
Help me! Help me! Go!
Yo, Coco, give us a hand. When all else failed, well, then I had to revert to the cheesy method of defeating this guy. The good old descended tech gates. Except I didn't have enough metal, so I needed to go farm a bunch before I could actually get them and get enough of them. Which at this point of the game should be a pretty simple and easy task, right? You bitch. Yeah, that was a bit of a pain in the ass and a little bit of a setback from what we needed right now. Look, it sucks that we lost our Featherlight and our Miner Anki, but we managed to get all the metal that we farmed up and was eventually able to craft up enough of these behemoth gates. So the next day we returned back to the Celestial Rock Elemental, trapped it inside of these behemoth gates, and on this very corner here, gave us enough room for us to be able to attack it. Now, even with this little trap, our Devilish Rex wasn't really doing too much damage. So I switched out for my Thorny Dragon, and this seemed to be working just fine, although a little bit slow. And to speed some things up a little bit more, I asked some of the guys from the server to come on and give me a hand. And with this, we were finally able to defeat the Celestial Rock Elemental. Now, after defeating this boss, we picked up a ton of loot. And the thing that we were after was this Celestial Rock Trophy. And now, if you've been wondering what I've been up to, because I haven't really explained it, well, I'm going to explain it now. Basically, I want to be able to craft this thing right here, the Evo Core for the Celestial Rock Golem. Now, you can't just go out and tame yourself a Celestial creature or an Abyssal creature. What you need to do is evolve an excellent boss creature. So, if it wasn't obvious, we want to get our hands on a Celestial Rock Golem, which is why we tamed ourselves the excellent Rock Golem, and now we feed it the Evo Core. Then not after too long, we got ourselves the Celestial Rock Elemental. It's a whole process, but definitely worth it. Now, can we clone it? Bro, what do you mean I can't clone you?
I didn't know that was going to be a thing.
Not only can you not clone it, they're not breedable. That's okay though, because we do have a sneaky way around that though, and we can make them breed. This Celestial Rock Golem's going to be the GOAT, so I had to name it. Let me introduce you to Dwayne the God, because he's a rock, like Dwayne the Rock. Yeah, I think you get it. Day 95, and I may or may not have weaseled my way into being able to get myself another Celestial Rock Golem. Turns out Polydina, my friend here, has a male, and now I can breed these guys together. Shout out Polydina for the help. Whilst waiting for them to breed up, I then went out to try and attempt to tame myself a Descended Ice Titan. Now they tame just like an excellent boss, except it requires 6 excellent boss kibble. I need to get its health down quite a bit, below 50%, and then I use my metal trank arrows,
alongside my fabricated sniper to put it to sleep. Now this is a pretty simple and straightforward process, unless you get jumped by a freaking alpha Dodorexy. So I'm gonna have to take a little break from knocking out the Ice Titan and deal with this little pest first. It can be pretty overwhelming at times, especially having to battle two behemoths of beasts. Oh, and the Ice Titan can do this too. What the fuck, bro? I'm fighting this Ice Titan and he keeps like throwing me all over the place. It's kind of funny to be honest. But he's putting me in shit spots. I then moved back down to the ground to find a suitable spot to be able to shoot at this descended Ice Titan, and then I was able to put this massive behemoth of a beast to sleep. And just like magic, we were able to tame ourselves this descended Ice Titan, who I brought back to base and gave a name. And I came up with the most creative, the most thoughtful name of all time, Benji. And now that we have our very own Ice Titan, Benji, I went to the boss fighting arena to take on one of these supply drops. And this right here was the very first tier of supply drops, which means it was rather easy on our Ice Titan. Now there's only a very few amount of dinos that can actually take on these supply drops, as most of the other creatures don't really do any damage at all. The descended Ice Titan is definitely the most recommended creature to fight it, and definitely makes quick work of all of these corrupted enemies. It's not a very visually appealing fight, but we managed to get it done, and then claim all of the loot from the supply drop, which is actually really damn good. You can't forget that you can actually harvest the supply drop for some really good resources as well. Back at base, we went through and we saw that we got over 100 of these corruption ancient magic boxes. Which means, of course, we can get our hands on a ton of ancient cluster tokens. Because as of moving forward from now, we need a ton of them to be able to craft a lot of things. Like this. The Evo core for our ancient fairy that then evolves into the ancient Spino. There's one more tier of evolution left that we need to complete for it, but we need to work towards that. We still don't have enough resources to be able to evolve it. Shout out to Warthunder again for sponsoring this video. Make sure you go and check out Warthunder right now on PC, console, and mobile, and use my links in the description or the pinned comment below to register now. And remember, those of you that are on PC and console that haven't played within 6 months or are brand new, get this massive free bonus pack, which includes in-game vehicles, game currency, and much more. Day 96 and Flurry has finished the base. And I ain't gonna lie, this thing looks pretty damn sweet. He's even built me my own little area just to chill out in. But here's a better look at the entire base. There's like 2 levels. The top one's kind of like a cosmetic looking thing. There's an exit there so I can just fly straight out. And we're pretty much fully enclosed in like a proper base should be. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this base. I think it's probably one of the best ones I've ever had. But right now, we have a baby celestial rock elemental that's fully grown up. So I went out to go and test this beast out. And damn, the thing is an absolute powerhouse. It does tons of damage, but it is a little bit squishy. But thankfully, there is a way to fix that. We just need to get to work working towards the celestial armor for this rock elemental. It's not super easy for us to get our hands on, and we're gonna have to grind our way to get there. Now, although our celestial rock elemental is pretty damn good, I want an abyssal creature, and I think a Dodo Reaper will be perfect. As I was trying to get this excellent Dodo Reaper's health below its halfway mark, well, I accidentally hit it a little bit too hard. Don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. You're almost dead. That just goes to show how damn strong I am. I am awesome. Well, I mean, my Divine Thorny Dragon is awesome. I'm just riding it. But most importantly, we managed to successfully knock out this Dodo Reaper and tame it. Day 97, we went to go tame a second excellent Dodo Reaper so we can have a breeding pair of abyssal Dodo Reapers once they're ready. Second Dodo Reaper acquired. Now I need to get my hands on a whole bunch of ancient token clusters so I can get the evolution core, which is why we're doing one of these supply drops, obviously. It doesn't hurt to get all the extra juicy loot as well. And finally, we need to summon in the abyssal Dodo Reaper and defeat it so we can get the Evo core. But this battle was so visually intense for my computer that it basically blew up. There was just so much shit going on the screen. It's just like, see ya. We returned back into the boss fighting arena and the Dodo Reaper was still there, but it had fully healed up. Nervous once again that this was going to fry my computer. But hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. We need to defeat this Dodo Reaper. And we soon learned that these celestial rock elementals do tons of damage. It was much easier to defeat this abyssal Dodo Reaper than when we used our Devilish Rex.
Too easy, so cheesy.
Next, I summoned in the descended celestial Giga. Why? Well, because we're here and I felt confident enough to beat it, and we actually have to fight all of these bosses just like we fought all the ancient bosses earlier. I need to collect all of their trophies so we can create a next recipe so we can summon in another boss later. And to finish off the day, we then summoned in another Dodo Reaper. We need to kill 2 of them obviously so we can get a breeding pair. You guys know how it goes. Again, a rather simple task with our celestial rock elementals. And now we can return back to base to craft up this abyssal Dodo Reaper Evo core, and then feed it to our new Dodo Reaper, evolve it, place it next to our other abyssal Dodo Reaper, and then we have to feed it the breeding potion because you can't actually breed these dinos. Then we can begin the breeding process. Day 99, and after a bit of patience, we had a baby Dodo Reaper that we could go out and test out against some of the wild creatures. And oh my lordy, this thing is an absolute powerhouse. Watch this celestial Giganotosaurus get absolutely melted with its 6.5 million health before I even finished this sentence. Okay, it took a little bit longer, but you get the point. The abyssal Dodo Reaper compared to the celestial rock elemental is more of an attacking type creature. Our celestial elemental, well, it's a bit of a tank. This got crazy fun, but we can't stay out there for too long. We need to get down to business and try and progress through this mod. We're now summoning in the ancient descended phantom. It's a really large Giga that we need to defeat so we can evolve our ancient Spino. Thing is, it has this big bubble effect that is super dangerous. So yes, we need to fight it head on, do as much damage as possible, but we need to make sure we avoid this bubble at all costs. That thing can basically destroy us within seconds if we're inside of it. We got it below half of its health, but it dropped a big attack that I didn't even see what happened, and I died. And just my luck, when I returned, it had fully healed up, but I need to defeat this boss. Unfortunately, it's never as simple as I hoped. I wanted to attempt trying to defeat it with my celestial rock elemental. This time when I returned, I had one of the other guys on the server, I think it's either Coco or Polydina, help me out in this fight. This way at least one of us can be here so it doesn't regain all of its health. Now, it did manage to do a ton of damage, but I got stuck inside of the Giga when it dropped its big ball and I couldn't escape. It is now day 100, and I could not possibly give up until I beat this ancient descended Giga. Thanks to the help of my server mates, we were able to make sure it didn't regain any health. And we could continue fighting on, even though we did get stuck once again, but its health was really damn low, so we had to continue fighting and hope that it doesn't blow its bubble. We had just defeated it in time, just as it released its bubble. Not only did we get the item that we needed to be able to get our very own celestial ancient Giga, but we also got some ancient token clusters, like a whole bunch of them. We then returned back to base where we could craft up the Evo core for our ancient Spino and then evolve it into its very last and final form, the ancient Evo Giganotosaurus. Guys, that is the end of this 100 days. There is so much more content to cover in this mod. If you want to see a 200 days, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. If this video hits 25,000 likes, I will do a 200 days and complete the entire mod. Massive shout out to all of my Patreons, Twitch subscribers, and YouTube members. Until next time, peace.